Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land. I'm the Moorish Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Moorish Empire, traveler on the land, bitch snitch, Moorish Empire, God dang, you're right, traveler on the land, bitch snitch, the late evening U.S. people.
What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God! No!
Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever you are, whoever you're with, whatever you're doing, I'm just glad you're doing it here with me, your number one lawfluencer on planet Earth, Legal Vices. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me to be lawfluenced today. We're going to do a lot of lawfluencing. I'm going to keep repeating that word until it becomes a thing. I'm going to provide you with a healthy dose of lawfluential commentary, some insight, some education, some entertainment, some humor. Maybe not a lot of humor today, because this is a pretty heavy topic, but we are going to be discussing a topic of some significant legal significance. We'll get into it in just a minute. But right now we've got to do all of our little house cleaning stuff, our little back end stuff coming up in just about how many hours? And in 11 hours is going to be the F Friday for August. Come and hang out. We got a great panel of guests. We'll talk about it at the end of the show today. You bring your grifty piles of cash and throw it at my feet. I bring you some entertainment. I again, do not, please, if you're watching on Rumble, all like two of you, if you're watching on Rumble, do not send Rumble rants. I cannot get them. And today I'm going to try to dissuade you from, if you plan on being on the at the F Friday stream, I'm going to try to dissuade you from giving super chats this evening. If you're not going to be there for the F Friday thing, super chat away. But I would prefer that you hold your super chats for the F Friday stream coming up in 11 hours, where it can be put to fun use. But if you're, like I said, if you're not going to be there, feel free to super chat away. We also have alternative donation making methods in the link down below, and the mods put it up in chat. We have our like and subscribe poll today. It's just a little poll to remind you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We've got 217 people here right now and 124 likes. It's like 103 of you haven't done your job. So get down there and hit that like button. Hit it hard, hit it fast, hit it repeatedly, but just hit it an odd number of times. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you have, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed. We took a little bit of a hit during my absence. Our like and subscribe poll again is just to remind you to do all those YouTubey things. Right here is our like and subscribe vote. This particular story is a great way to start the weekend. Yes, no, really, no, and if at Friday we'll make it all better. Now those are your poll options. Again, just nonsense to make it to remind you to hit the like and subscribe poll. Not to hit the poll, to actually hit the like and subscribe and then take the poll. We do have a few other little things to take care of, and then we're going to get into this weighty issue. Let's start with I can't remember gifted 5 Legal Vices memberships. Thank you so very much. I can't remember. And Lynn Britton, or Britain, depending how you want to pronounce that. I don't know how you pronounce it. So happy to see you back. Well, I'm happy to be back. Thank you very much for being a member for 2 months. Blue Varo, what's up? Member for 17 months. Thank you for this, for the support over the past 17 months. And Mike Dorado, what's up, Mike Dorado? Did you learn anything from your timeout? No, because I don't know why I was timed out. They didn't tell me why I was timed out or how to avoid it in the future, so nothing learned. And Sonia Chris is also gifted 5 Legal Vices memberships. Thank you very much for those gifted Legal Vices memberships. And if you've got one of those, make sure you give I Can't Remember and or Sonia Chris a super special thanks. Thank you so much for that support, guys. Well, I guess that's really all we've got to talk about right now before we get into this story. So while I'm still thinking about it, let's go ahead and do our little swipe, our little swoop, our little swoosh, our little intermission here, so that we can signal those that are just scrolling through and don't want to do all the little fellowship and philosophize and stuff we do at the beginning. That is now time to begin the show. So we do that by this little thing we just like to call intermission. That's not the intermission button. This is the intermission button.
This is a brief intermission.
You're very much appreciated for saying that I'm appreciated. I appreciate that.
This is a brief intermission.
Thank you very, very much. I'm going to have a search and or seizure. More likely the seizure. I appreciate you.
This is a brief intermission.
I appreciate you. Okay, that was clearly not the correct intermission button. But we are back and we are here today again. As I said, is a weighty topic. I'm sure many of you have seen it on other channels. It's being covered all over the place on YouTube and other platforms. The Sandra Birchmore case. I've actually avoided having anything to do with this case just because of the horrific nature of it. But now that there's been federal murder charges filed in this case, now I think it's time to look at it carefully. So how we're going to do this is we're going to do it at like 3 different altitudes. We're going to give you the 10,000 foot view. Then we'll kind of give you the 1,000 foot view. And then we'll get down in the trenches. And we'll do that by just me giving a very, very light overview. And then we'll watch the press conference that took place in relation to this arrest. And then we will look at some of the documents that have been filed. And you know me, I don't do trigger warnings. I'm not a trigger warning guy. I think, if just, be an adult. If it's not for you, take off. If it is, stick around. But in this case, I will say that it is trigger warning worthy. This is just a horrific story on a vast multitude of levels. It's not like the Taylorship business where, the Taylorship business trial was gruesome and the details were so so bad that they were kind of funny in a sick, dark humor kind of way. But this is, and the business was a very two-dimensional case. Same with Chandler Halderson, very two-dimensional. But this is a very, very three-dimensional case, and the details of this case are so bad that they're actually really, really horrific. So it's a heavy topic. I'm going to give you a trigger warning that some of the topics may be really, really hard for some of you to deal with, but it's a reality and it's actually happening. And we're just at the beginning stages of finding out what went on in relation to this case. All right, so let's start off with the 10,000 foot view, shall we? And this is just a very, very general statement about the case. And I still left one little print right in the middle of my vision. There we go. 10,000 view of this case, the Sandra Birchmore case. A police officer named Matthew Farwell allegedly had been grooming her since she was 12 years old. They began having intercourse when she was 15 and he was in his late 20s. They continued for almost 10 years. She wanted a baby. He had a wife and I believe 3 children or 2 children. And his wife was pregnant with their 3rd child. He felt pressured into fathering, or allegedly he says he felt pressured into having impregnating her. She wanted him to be there, for the birth, sign the birth certificate and whatnot. And I guess allegedly he didn't want anything to do with that, and he killed her. He took her out. He was a police officer with, for those of you that don't know, he was a police officer in Massachusetts. He was a police officer in Stoughton, Massachusetts, which I understand is right next to Canton. So right next to Canton, in fact, that you're going to hear 3 names that might ring a bell from the Karen Reed trial that are involved in this case. Detective Lank. He was the first on the scene, and I understand to be the lead investigator for the Massachusetts State Police. Yes, Sandra's apartment, as Budaberries points out, is actually in Canton. So he worked for the Stoughton Police. Detective Lank was the investigator that was in charge. He was the first on the scene. A name you might very, very, very much be familiar with. A man by the name of Kevin Albert. He was involved in the case on day 2 of the investigation. And that Kevin Albert. So Detective Lank investigated. Kevin Albert came on scene on day 2. And does the name Garino mean anything to you? Does the name Garino mean anything? Garino was the British guy that lived in Canada that used to work for Cellbrite, that had developed his own app, and he sort of was testifying in the Karen Reed trial like he wanted to sell his own app. The guy that was sat on the stand and tried to explain how the 2:30 search for Host Long to Die in the Cold was not actually done at 2:30, because if you open this tab and then you put it in the background and then you do another search on it later, it still keeps the original time and not the later time, and how you can't delete things and the clocks don't really tell stuff and the Cellbrite data doesn't really. That guy was the one that did the data analysis, the cell phone analysis in this case. Now, there was one brief period under cross-examination when I can't remember if it was Yannetti or Jackson that asked the question. I believe it was Yannetti that asked the question that got objected to. Because when he was talking about something about how you couldn't, he couldn't find any data on the phone or something. He couldn't recover any data on the phone. And the defense asked the question, weren't you involved in another case where you couldn't find any data, but someone else found 32,000 messages? And it was promptly objected to, and the objection was sustained. Oh, Garino was not the Canadian guy? I thought the Garino was the Canadian guy. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Sorry. He's the guy that downloaded the data. You guys are absolutely correct. Sorry for that. Anybody reading on chat, on the replay and making comments, please just go back there into the comments and delete that comment you made correcting me. that is right. He's the Massachusetts State Police guy that downloaded the shiz. Yeah, he yes, Buddha Berries. Yeah, he's the one that was caught on the hot mic saying, "Just kill me," or I believe it was just effing kill me. Was it he said? I believe it was just fucking kill me, something like that. But he was the guy that downloaded it. He was the guy that said that you couldn't do the recovery stuff, and that objection was in relation to this case. He analyzed the data from the police officer, the police detective, Matthew Farwell's phone, and said there was no data. Oh, I left out a big point. They investigated it about this long, and immediately concluded that she had deleted herself. She had committed an act of self-deletion. It was ruled the S word very quickly. Then they did the phone analysis, and surprisingly enough, Garano couldn't find any text messages between the officer, the detective, and the victim. Well, the FBI got a hold of the phone and found 32,000 text messages from the guy. So the police who investigated it they found zero. There was zero messages to be found. Well, the FBI begged to differ because they found 32,000. They also investigated the incident and said it was not a self-deletion. It was a killing. And other details came out that apparently Matthew Farwell, the detective, has a twin brother who also allegedly abused Sandra Birchmore. And him and his twin brother, their mentor, also allegedly was involved in abusing Sandra Birchmore. So that's the 10,000 foot view. Now we'll sink down to cloud cover level. We'll go down. We'll go down to the cloud cover level. Give you the 1,000 foot view with the press conference. That this is a federal case, mind you, because the state, they're like, nah, there's nothing here. It's a self-deletion. No foul play was involved. The medical examiner said, "Yep, that's foul play. There's no foul play there." The FBI medical examiner said, "Oh no. An idiot could see that this is not a self-deletion case." So it was really never investigated by the Norfolk County police people. And the DA saw nothing. The feds got involved in it. This thing opened wide up. So it's a federal murder investigation now. He's been charged. So let's bring up the press conference here, and we can watch that. And this will give you sort of like I said, sort of like the 1,000 foot view. And then we will descend down to the depths of human depravity and go through the affidavit in support of the motion to detain the police officer. And again, thank you to everybody that's here watching this. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. Let's go. As soon as I get through these stacks of, there we go. This is what I was looking for.
Good afternoon. On February 4th, 2021, Sandra Birchmore was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment. The charges filed today in federal court
now
allege that she was.
One thing I've got to say is, if you watch Ian Runkle, if you watch Runkle of the Bailey review this, he was extremely upset by this. I differ in my interpretation of this somewhat. I differ from Ian's take on this. Ian found a lot of evilness. He found a little bit of good in it, but he also found a lot of evilness. He particularly didn't like this guy. But I'll explain why I had different feelings about this.
Was in fact murdered by Matthew Farwell 3 days earlier. At the time of her death, Sandra Birchmore was a 23-year-old woman with her entire life ahead of her, and she was pregnant with her first child. We allege that Sandra Birchmore survived years of grooming, statutory rape, and then sexual violence, all at the hands of Matthew Farwell, who was employed throughout their relationship as an officer and then detective for the Stoughton Police Department. And when it became clear to Mr. Farwell that he could no longer control Sandra Birchmore, he allegedly silenced her permanently. This morning, Matthew Farwell was arrested on a federal grand jury indictment, charging him with one count of killing a witness or victim.
Now, it's not just a standard federal murder case. It's the murder of a witness or victim, which carries the death penalty, the federal death penalty. The federal death penalty is not brought into play very often at all. But I know Ian and Steve Gosling, people like that, are just adamantly, categorically against the death penalty. But Ian even conceded that these are the kinds of cases that makes him consider it. These kinds of cases are exactly why I support the death penalty. I think some people, if they're convicted of things as horrific as we're going to discuss today, have lost the privilege of breathing the same oxygen that I do. People argue, oh, it costs more to put someone to death than it does to. I don't care. I don't want them breathing the same oxygen as me anymore. I'm a big proponent of the death penalty. I don't think it's used enough. My problem with the death penalty is it's used and applied unfairly and inconsistently. That's my problem with it. In principle, I can think of a lot of reasons for it, and I support it. But anyway, that's where I'm coming from watching this.
Specifically, Mr. Farwell is charged with violating Title 18 United States Code 1512 for killing Sandra Birchmore with the intent of preventing her from communicating information about his possible commission of federal crimes. How did this all unfold? What happened here? Well, back in 2010, a 12-year-old Sandra Birchmore applied to join the Stoughton Police Department's Explorers program, which introduces teens to policing. Officer Matthew Farwell was an instructor in that program.
Isn't that how?
And as alleged in court documents, he befriended Sandra.
Isn't that how so many of these things start? The predators, they put themselves in positions where they're around the people they prey on. It's a story as old as time.
Sandra Birchmore contacted her online, went to the library with her, became friends on Facebook, essentially groomed her. And then he committed statutory rape by having sex with her when he was a 27-year-old police officer and she was just 15 years old. Mr. Farwell continued to have a sexual relationship with Sandra Birchmore until her death 8 years later, allegedly meeting her for sex regularly when he was on duty and being paid by the Stoughton Police Department. Now, in the weeks leading up to Sandra Birchmore's death in February 2021, she found out that she was expecting a baby. And she told Mr. Farwell that he was the father. According to court documents, Ms. Birchmore was very excited about becoming a mother, buying baby clothes and other items, taking precautions to ensure the health of her new child. Sandra Birchmore had good friends, she had a good job, she had dreams of becoming a nurse, and she had a child on the way. But Mr. Farwell did not share in that excitement. It's alleged that Mr. Farwell reacted quite negatively to the news that Sandra Birchmore was pregnant with his child. And he acted angrily, it is alleged, when Sandra Birchmore started making requests.
And according to the documents, one of he liked it when it was just them, having their affair. But when it became when the pregnancy thing came about, he had his wife, his already existing children, and his wife was pregnant with another child. So yeah, great guy.
Mr. Farwell, around doctor's appointments and ultrasounds and what information would be on the birth certificate. Mr. Farwell was losing control in late 2020, early 2021, and the information that Sandra Birchmore possessed about his illegal conduct was in danger of slipping out. In fact, word started to get out about their relationship. Less than 2 weeks before she was found dead, someone called the Stoughton Police Department and disclosed that Matthew Farwell had had a relationship with Sandra Birchmore. And when Mr. Farwell learned about that call, he became visibly angry.
Now, this is sort of where Ian started to get angry, where your uncle the Bailey started to get angry, and I don't have the same problem. He thought you knew 2 weeks before. It was reported 2 weeks before. What do you mean you just found out? You just learned? This is the federal investigation. This isn't the Massachusetts Attorney General. This is the United States Attorney for the Massachusetts district. He reports to the United States Attorney General, not the Massachusetts Attorney General. The reason he's just finding out about it is because they buried it at the Massachusetts State Police level. They didn't investigate it. They shut it down. They protected their own, apparently. Apparently, the police didn't look into it, didn't question. They didn't question their own guy. They didn't do anything relevant to protect her, even though they had this 2-week advanced warning that their officer was involved in something. I don't blame this guy. He said, we've been investigating it. I think they've been investigating this for about 2 years. I think the feds have been involved, something like that. But he didn't sit on it for that entire time. He's the one that's bringing it to light. He knows about it because the FBI investigated. The FBI found out that that this call had been made. How did they find this out? They questioned probably literally. I won't say exactly. I don't know, but they probably talked to dozens, if not hundreds, and possibly thousands of people. I don't know. They talked to close friends. They started putting this thing together like a puzzle. And in the documents, you'll see they make reference to person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4, and so on. They talk to people. They put the pieces. The feds put the pieces together because the Massachusetts State Police and DA did absolute fuck all to do. And I can't start swearing. They did absolutely nothing to follow up, investigate, and prosecute this case. So I don't have a problem with this guy. I don't have the same problem that others have with this guy. He's being forthright. He said, this is what our investigation uncovered. And this is why he didn't get prosecuted at the state level. This is why we are going after him.
Mr. Farwell, it is alleged in these court papers, started to lose his patience, lose his temper, And the 6'4" Mr. Farwell started to be physically violent with 4'10" Sandra Birchmore. And Sandra Birchmore told her friends that Mr. Farwell had pushed her and shoved her and put her in a chokehold. She was scared. And during that same time, Mr. Farwell was allegedly planning Sandra Birchmore's murder. For the first time, he requested a key to her apartment. And she told friends that he was oddly inspecting the apartment and looking at the closet, including the closet that she was found dead in front of. And then it all came to a head on February 1st, 2021. Mr. Farwell went over to her apartment that evening, and he strangled Sandra Birchmore to death. That's the allegation in this case. And he used his knowledge and experience as a law enforcement officer to stage her death to look like a suicide. He allegedly...
So that is why he got away with it initially, because allegedly he killed her and then staged it to make it look like she hung herself in a sitting position in the closet. So he's like, oh, look, we found a body. Oh my gosh, you know, she seems to have deleted herself. And that was it.
Attempted to cover his tracks to literally try and get away with murder. And he almost did until today. Back in 2021, with the information that was available, Sandra Birchmore's death was ruled a suicide, or deemed a suicide. But over the last year or so, the
Now again, this I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not attacking Ian and his view. This is just where I disagree. He's like, how can you say this, you know, over the last year we came into this information. You knew 2 weeks before this occurred. He didn't know because the Massachusetts police buried it. That's why they didn't know. These guys found out by talking to people, by doing the things that the Massachusetts State Police and District Attorney's Office did not do. So again, I don't fault this guy. The Attorney General and the FBI should be praised for not. I mean, it sounds stupid that we have to say they should be praised for not burying it. That sounds ludicrous, but that's the state of the trust in law enforcement, state and federally, that we actually have to congratulate and appreciate people for doing their damn jobs. Yeah, you have to appreciate the investigators for actually investigating. That sounds ridiculous, but you know, there you go.
The FBI and our office have been working exhaustively with our state partners. We've uncovered critical new information, examined the existing information, all of which led to this federal grand jury indictment.
And if they were not investigating this, the FBI would not be involved in the Karen Reed case. Because remember those three names? Lank, Kevin Albert, and Garano. The Karen Reed case sort of fell into their laps, fell into the feds' laps while they're investigating this case.
If convicted on this charge, Mr. Farwell faces a minimum of life imprisonment.
Yeah, those are literally the two options. If he's found guilty, he either spends the rest of his life behind bars or they take him out. They give him the death penalty. We don't know if they're going to seek the death penalty or not yet.
Giving voice to the voiceless, ensuring that no one is above the law, protecting the vulnerable people of Massachusetts, that's the highest calling of people in law enforcement. And this case represents those principles. And every day across Massachusetts, thousands of police officers, federal, state, local law enforcement put their lives on the line to protect the people of Massachusetts. Mr. Farwell violated those principles, and now he faces very grave consequences. It is disheartening to have to charge law enforcement officers, especially with crimes this serious. But it's our job at the Department of Justice to investigate potential crimes without fear and without favor. We do in this office what we've been doing for decades with our federal partners like the FBI. We follow the facts, regardless of where they lead. We apply the law and the principles of federal prosecution, full stop.
And kudos to you for that.
We are not influenced by social media chatter. We are not influenced by politics.
Now, this is kind of one thing where I agree with Ian on this, because Ian said, well, perhaps they should be a little more influenced by social media chatter. Because this smelled from day one. This case stunk from day one. And of course, it was about a year, 18 months, 2 years somewhere that they became involved in this case.
We're influenced by the facts and the law. Our mission is to do our level best to do justice in every case. And our mission today is to do justice for Sandra Birchmore.
These guys are exposing the Massachusetts State Police.
I want to note that we are sharing the information and the evidence that we developed in this case with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, with the Massachusetts State Police, and with the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office, so they can assess whether state charges may be warranted in this situation. And I want to thank those three agencies. I also want to thank the Stoughton Police Department for their assistance in our investigation. Lastly, I want to commend the women and the men of the FBI Boston and Lakeville for their incredible work on this case. This was a dogged investigation. And as you look at the court papers, you'll see exactly how much work.
And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at one of the
court papers. A huge credit to them. And I particularly want to thank the members of my office, the office I'm proud to lead, the victim witness advocates, paralegals, the chief of our human trafficking and civil rights unit, Liz Riley, Assistant United States Attorneys Tori Cummings and Brian Fogarty. This case doesn't happen without their passion for justice. They deserve the credit, not me. Now I want to turn it over to Steve Kelleher, the Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI Boston.
All right, this is the FBI guy here.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Kelleher, Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI Boston. At approximately 10:45 a.m. this morning, the FBI arrested former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell for allegedly taking the life of Sandra Birchmore in order to ensure her silence. The FBI SWAT team took him into custody at a shopping plaza in Revere without incident. Immediately following his arrest, we shared this significant development with Sandra's family. We know it does not ease their pain, but hopefully it answers some of their questions.
Now, the one thing I want you to listen to this as we go through. This is an FBI agent that deals with this kind of stuff, you know, the killings and the murders and all of the horrible criminal stuff. And this is one of the reasons why I say that even no trigger warning me thinks this stream warrants a trigger warning for just everything that could possibly trigger you, because listen to this tough bird assistant, the special agent here from the FBI. Listen to his voice crack. His voice cracks repeatedly while he's talking about just the surface level details of this crime.
Simply put, this case is about seeking justice for Sandra, who we believe was killed by Matthew Farwell after he allegedly groomed and sexually abused her when she was just 15 years old, violating her body and her civil rights. It's also about keeping Mr. Farwell from getting away with murder and from harming anyone else. We in law enforcement are entrusted with immense authority because our decisions can have life-changing consequences, both good and bad. To temper that power, we must adhere to the highest of ethical standards. What we believe Officer Matthew Farwell did, as outlined in today's indictment, is depraved and a gross betrayal of his sworn oath and the public's trust. Let me be clear.
Sometimes the English language is so insufficient. There has to be a word that's like worse than depraved. Whatever the worst word you can think of plus something worse. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at here.
Clear. Matthew Farwell's gun and badge did not grant him authority to violate the Constitution. And it certainly didn't entitle him to sexually exploit abuse, and rape a child before killing her and her unborn baby in an attempt to cover up his alleged crimes. What's also troubling is we believe Matthew Farwell staged Sandra's body and her apartment to make it look like she had died by suicide. In the days that followed, this sworn police officer repeatedly lied to Massachusetts State Police investigators about the nature of their relationship. It's a stark contrast to the sheer excitement and pure joy that Sandra felt when she told Farwell that she was expecting his child, texting him a photo of a poster she had made celebrating the pregnancy. Our investigation also uncovered additional evidence that is inconsistent with someone choosing to die by suicide. In the hours leading up to Sandra's death, she reached out to a photographer to inquire about booking a newborn photo shoot. She also reached out to a friend about obtaining baby clothes. And at the time that she was in the middle of doing laundry when she died, with a load in the washing machine and another one in the dryer. There's no question this was a complex investigation, and our work is not done. Our agents, analysts, and financial investigators reviewed tens of thousands of text messages, emails, and financial records.
Tens of thousands. Again, Garano said, we didn't find any text messages on our fellow police officer's phone. We didn't find any. Well, then how the hell did the FBI come up with 32,000 of them? These people need to be, and they probably are being, investigated very, very seriously. I mean, Garano should be right up there on the investigation list.
Conducted dozens of interviews with family, friends, and experts and analyzed the crime scene. We urge anyone with information about the circumstances surrounding Sandra's death to contact the FBI.
Great success.
Committing murder to eliminate victims
2021.
and witnesses is heinous, and it shakes the very core of our justice system, which depends on people truthfully testifying to what they know. Today's arrest shows that anyone who tries to interfere and retaliate against victims and witnesses in an attempt to subvert the rule of law will have to answer for it. After all, the public's trust is critical for our justice system to function properly. That's why the FBI will do everything in its power to bring justice to anyone who tries to undermine that trust. Our hearts go out to Sandra, to the Birchmore family, and all who knew and loved Sandra. On behalf of the FBI, I want to thank them for their cooperation, patience, perseverance, and fortitude. I also want to thank our agents and analysts for their hard work and dedication, Acting U.S. Attorney Josh Levy and his team for their partnership, and both Chief McNamara of the Stoughton Police Department and Colonel Mon with the Massachusetts State Police for their assistance in helping us move this investigation forward. Thank you. Next, Dave.
Now, they have a big question and answer session. I'm not going to watch the question and answer session. Jewel said he's pleaded guilty in front of the judge on Wednesday. He's still incarcerated. I don't think he gets bail. Of course, his wife is standing by him. This guy, Matthew Farwell, pled guilty? Oh, pled not guilty. Jeez. I was like, sorry, I read that 3 times and I still read it wrong. He pled not guilty. Of course he did. Okay. Sorry, my surprise is gone. I don't know why I read that 3 times. I read it. He pleaded guilty, and I'm like, what? All right. Yeah. Okay. I was confused there. So that's kind of the 1,000-foot level. Now, also is again, I mentioned that it's been alleged that Detective Farwell's twin brother was also involved with her, as was their mentor was involved with her, also allegedly. One of the questions that was asked during the press conference, during the Q&A part, was, is anybody else being investigated? And he said, well, we're not going to say anything about an ongoing investigation or something like that, which is a roundabout way of saying, yes, other people are being investigated. So yeah, I hope there's going to be more heads rolling as a result of their investigation. And also, I want there to be, I hope it's going on, and I hope if it's not, it can't just be her. She can't be the only victim of this sort of predatory behavior. It's not a one-off kind of thing. Predators are predators. Even alleged, we have to say alleged for the time being. But this looks like a pretty open and shut case. Again, legally, he is innocent until proven guilty. Innocent unless proven guilty. In the eyes of the law, he's innocent until the jury says guilty. But guess what? We still have our opinions, and I got mine. Let's read through a couple of these comments here. Meg in Florida, FRK, became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Clean and Sober crew. Margin. Oh, I said Mag in Florida. Mag in Florida. Mag in Florida. Hey, welcome. Welcome. And there was a couple of other questions and things that I highlighted. B. Frank says, "Oh, we won't be able to watch the trial." No, it's a federal trial. It's a federal trial, so it won't be televised. But one thing they did is they encouraged the local authorities to look into possible charges as well. So I would not be surprised at all if the state also brought charges in relation to this. And I Am the Princess says, does he have more victims? That's what I'm saying. There's got to be more. There has to be more. And I hope that they come forward. And I hope that like Sandra, they talk to people and there's other people to corroborate their story. I cannot believe that there are no other victims of him and anyone else that's involved in his deal here. Yes, the court of public opinion is very different from the court of law. It's just being able to separate those two that people have difficulty with. Yeah, strongly encourage. They sort of have to now, don't they? The Staunton police chief, she issued a statement basically saying that they've been looking at it for a couple of years and they're looking into it more, and I assume there's going to be some action taken relatively quickly. All right, now with that, we've got the 10,000 foot view. We've got the 1,000 foot view. Now we're going into the trenches. Now we're going into the gutters. LC Mara says this does not go on as long as it did without accomplices, and it doesn't get revealed without one of them talking. That's why I'm saying we need to look at the other police officers that investigated this. Lank, effing Kevin Albert, Garano. Garano's he's the shady one. He spewed bullshit on the stand in the Karen Reed trial. His investigation, he found 0 text messages from Matthew Farwell to Sandra Birchmore. He found 0 messages on Matthew Farwell's phone. Then how in God's name did the FBI come up with 32,000 text messages? The investigators need to be investigated. The watchers need to be watched. All right, here we go. There's, as I was saying, there's 3 documents that are available so far. They are the indictment itself, which is fairly short. We'll look at that. We'll look at that another day. Also, the motion for detention of Matthew Farwell. They want to keep him in jail. They don't want bail set. They don't want him out. And to do that, they have to prove a few things. Mainly, there's a likelihood he did it, and 2, that he's a danger to society if he's not kept detained. And so we'll look at the indictment and the motion for detention another day. But today we're going to be looking at the affidavit in support of the motion for detention. It's a long document. We need to get going. We'll be here a while. But as I've said, this is a trigger warning. This is some heavy stuff we're getting into here. So if you need to take a break, need to take a breather, please do. I plan on doing the same. I've got my relaxing beverage here. I've got a relaxing cigar. If it's still lit. A little bit. Thank you, Alan, for putting that trigger warning in the chat there. And it's not even a specific trigger warning. It's a blanket trigger warning. It's a trigger warning about everything. All right. Affidavit of Special Agent Chenny Castruita in support of government's motion for detention. I, Chenny Castruita, have been sworn state for the next 45 pages. Great success. Will you read the 32,000 text messages? No, there's a few text messages in here, and it's some of the nastiest, sickest shit you will read. Introduction and agent background. And I've redacted some of this. I've redacted some words. We have to use the YouTube speech because I'm just coming off a week suspension for harassment for I don't know why, but apparently I did something, but nobody will tell me what it was. So I'm being extra careful here. I have been a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation since June of 2022. I am currently assigned to the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Squad of the FBI's Boston Division, where I investigate public corruption and civil rights offenses. I am a graduate of the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, and I have received on-the-job training and attended courses sponsored by the FBI Department of Justice on how to conduct investigations regarding violations of various federal laws. I am a federal law enforcement officer within the meaning of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure 41A2C. The facts in this affidavit come from my personal observations and review of records, my training and experience, and information obtained from other agents and witnesses. This affidavit is filed in connection with the government's motion for detention. Therefore, it does not set forth all of my own and the other investigators' knowledge about this matter. So keep that in mind. Keep what she just said in mind there. This is not all of it. This is just enough that they hope will persuade the judge to keep him in detention and not let him out until the trial is over. This isn't all of it. This isn't the worst of it. What we're going to hear in the next 44 pages is almost just skimming the surface of this case. And the more I think about that, just the more horrific this becomes. I submit this affidavit in connection with the government's motion to detain defendant Matthew Farwell pending trial. As alleged in the indictment charging Farwell with violating 18 U.S.C. with the statute, and as further described below, on February 1, 2021, Farwell killed Sarah Birchmore with the intent to prevent her from communicating to law enforcement certain information regarding Farwell's commission or possible commission of the following federal crimes: using a facility or means of interstate commerce to persuade, induce, entice, or coerce then 15-year-old Birchmore to engage in unlawful sexual intercourse. B, depriving Birchmore of certain rights secured by the United States Constitution by committing statutory R while acting under color of law. You know what? This isn't the redacted one. I'm gonna bail out of this and bring up the redacted one. Yeah, that's not the redacted one. Give me just a quick second here. Where are we? Birchmore. All right, that's the one we're looking for. Close all ye oldie windows and share the screen again. I've even gone so far as to redact his first name. Let me type one quick text here. All right. Oh, while we're doing Tracy Fagan with the $2. It's death by firing squad an option. At the federal level, I think it's just lethal injection at the federal level. I don't remember for sure. But I think it's warranted. and something's anyway, we won't get off on it's not a death penalty day. All right, let's continue. All right, we're down here on B. Participating in a scheme. Okay, so we have the committing SR under color of law, acting as a police officer. Yeah, under color of law. That's an important magic word. Participating in a scheme to defraud the Stoughton Police Department and town of Stoughton through false representations or material omissions about the hours Farwell worked in order to receive compensation for official time when he was, in fact, engaging in sexual intercourse with Birchmore. Yeah, he billed the state for the time he was doing these things. Overview of the investigation. On February 1, 2021, then Stoughton Police Detective Farwell killed Sandra Birchmore. That's a direct statement. Hey, Aussie Overlord, welcome aboard, and welcome all the Aussie Raiders that came in a little bit earlier. Appreciate that. So that's a straight up statement. Farwell killed Sarah Birchmore. Farwell committed this murder at least in part to prevent Birchmore from disclosing to authorities information regarding his commission or possible commission of one or more crimes, including coercion and enticement, deprivation of rights under color of law, and a then ongoing wire fraud scheme in violation of this statute. Farwell's murder of Birchmore was the culmination of Farwell's years-long pattern of abuse targeting Birchmore. I think we can embiggen this one more click. Yes, we can. Good. When she was a young girl, Sandra Birchmore was interested in pursuing a career in law enforcement and eventually joined the Stoughton Police Explorers Academy, herein after Police Explorers, to learn more about law enforcement careers. While Birchmore was in the program, Farwell was involved as both a volunteer and as an instructor. Farwell used his authority and access to groom, sexually exploit, and ultimately essay then 15-year-old Birchmore. Farwell continued this sexual abuse after Birchmore became an adult, and he continued to engage in an extramarital sexual relationship with Birchmore until he killed her on February 1, 2021. There are signs that in late 2020 and early 2021, Farwell was losing control of Birchmore and the information she possessed about his past and then ongoing conduct. In or around December 2020, Birchmore became pregnant. Matthew Gree says, how exactly can the feds try murder here? Because he's a witness in a federal crime. She was a witness in a federal crime. And he killed a witness. He killed a witness or a victim. She was a victim of a federal crime. She was a witness to a federal crime, and he killed a witness and victim. That's why they're getting him for federal murder charges for murdering a victim or witness. So he's losing control of her and her information. Soon thereafter, Birchmore told Farwell that he was the father of her child, and she wanted him to be more involved in the planning for the impending birth. In January 2021, Birchmore's friend contacted Farwell's employer, the Stoughton Police Department. That's one of the things they were talking about in the press conference. Birchmore's friend contacted his employer, the Stoughton Police Department, and during that call referenced Farwell and Birchmore's illicit sexual relationship. Shortly thereafter, a Stoughton Police Department employee told Farwell about the call, which makes it, was it a confrontational telling, or was it just like, hey, did you hear about this? By the end of January 2021, Farwell faced the specter of additional disclosures to law enforcement regarding his prior essay of Birchmore and his then ongoing efforts to defraud the Stoughton Police Department and town of Stoughton by meeting her for sex when he was supposed to be on duty as a police officer. On February 1, 2021, that's the day of the murder, Farwell went to Birchmore's apartment in Canton, Massachusetts, wearing a COVID-19 medical face mask. Once inside, he killed her and staged her body and apartment to make it appear that Birchmore had died by suicide. On February 4th, 2021, 3 days after the murder, members of the Canton Police Department, Lank, Kevin Albert, these people ring any bells, and others went to Birchmore's apartment and conducted a well-being check. When police officers entered Birchmore's apartment, they found her body. A paramedic determined that Birchmore was dead. Well, good for you, paramedic. One guy gave a right diagnosis, and her body was transported to the office of the chief medical examiner here under the OCME. In early May 2021, an OCME pathologist ruled Birchmore's manner of death to be suicide, to be self-deletion. That's the background facts. Now, and this doc right now, we're still waiting in the we're at the kiddie end of the pool here. We're in the shallow waters. This continues to build, and about the last 8 or 9 pages is where it gets really, really awful. So just think while we're going through this, that this is only the surface of what they know. This is only enough to get this order of detention, this motion for detention granted. And it's still going to get worse as this document goes on. Evidence that Farwell committed federal offenses or possibly committed federal offenses by essaying Birchmore when she was a minor. Farwell started exploiting Sandra Birchmore no later than 2013 when she was 15 years old. Now that sounds horrible in and of itself, doesn't it? Just wait until we get later on in this document when he talks about what he really, really wished he could have done to her years earlier. At that time, Birchmore was enrolled in the Police Explorers. Farwell used his position of trust and authority as a sworn police officer and instructor in the Police Explorers to groom Birchmore. Ultimately, Farwell essayed Birchmore, including by engaging in sexual intercourse with her. The Explorer program is a vocational educational program that enables youths to explore career paths such as careers in law enforcement. Police departments throughout the country partner with the Explorer program to create what are commonly known as local police explorer programs. The Stoughton Police Department chartered and facilitated the Stoughton Police Explorers. It was a quasi-paramilitary program designed to expose youth participants to various aspects of policing. Oh, Jeff K., there is no need to be sorry for using that kind of language. Farwell became a sworn member of the Wellesley Police Department in 2008. On March 27, 2012, he was hired by the Stoughton Police Department, where he worked until he resigned on April 1st, 2022. More than a year after the death of Sandra. Prior to joining Stoughton Police Department in 2012, he was a Police Explorers volunteer. After joining the Stoughton Police Department, he served as a Police Explorers instructor. He had someone is victim shaming in chat. That's a non-starter today. That's a non-starter, chat. If anybody is doing that, I give zero shits. It will be a bannable offense if it comes to my attention. And I'm serious about that. This ain't that kind of day here. After joining the Stoughton Police Department, he served as an Explorers instructor. He had several roles as an instructor, including teaching firearms and explosive safety and conducting canine demonstrations.
At the time, Farwell was already familiar with the police explorers because he had also been a participant as a teenager. In March 2010, Sarah Birchmore applied to be a police explorers participant. At the time, Birchmore was 12 years old. She began participating in the program in the spring of 2010, and she remained in the program through 2016. Farwell began to groom Birchmore when she was a child. This grooming culminated in Farwell R-wording, graping Birchmore in April 2013, when she was only 15 years old. Now, here's the thing. People, as we will go through this, some people may be inclined to say, well, it was consensual. She wanted it. She wanted it. He wanted it. She wanted it. Isn't it consensual? No, because she was not at the legal age of consent. Thanks, Jules, for clarification. Appreciate that. She was not at the age of consent. She could not give legal consent. Therefore, it was not a legally consensual act, which means it was statutory rape. So that's why there is no problem with them saying this grooming culminated in Farwell graping Birchmore in April 2013 when she was only 15 years old. At the time of this assault, Farwell was 27 years old. Farwell continued to essay Birchmore prior to her 18th birthday. After Birchmore turned 18, Farwell continued cultivating a sexual relationship with her that lasted until her death on February 1st, 2021. Electronic messages between Farwell and Birchmore indicate that Farwell SA'd Birchmore when she was a child. Sonny or Chris, thank you so much for the $5. Jeff, do you have a moto drag racing outside your window, or is that the bulldog snoring? That's Yoda. It's both of them. It's Yoda and Strawberry snoring. You got double barrel bulldog snores. So thank you very much for that. All right. Electronic messages indicating that Farwell SA'd her when she was a child. After Birchmore's death, law enforcement agents obtained Birchmore's cell phone, both Apple iPhones and laptop, and reviewed the data on those devices. During that review, agents discovered messages between Farwell and Birchmore. The messages confirmed that Farwell frequently communicated with the Birch. Okay, so these were her phone records. Okay, these were her phone records that had this on it. The messages confirmed that Farwell frequently communicated with Birchmore for years. The messages also indicate that Farwell had sex with Birchmore when she was a minor, starting in or around April 2013, when Birchmore was 15 and Farwell was 27. Based on my training and experience, grooming is the process of a predator building a relationship with a child or a vulnerable adult in order to gain their trust, enabling the groomer to ultimately exploit the child or otherwise vulnerable person. Under Massachusetts law, any intercourse with a person under the age of 16 is unlawful and constitutes SA, specifically statutory rape. Furthermore, any person who has sex with a child under the age of 16, being at least 10 years older than the child, which he was here, he was 12 years older than her, being at least 10 years older than the child at the time of intercourse, is guilty of aggravated statutory rape. So it wasn't just statutory rape, it was aggravated statutory. Finally, any mandated reporter who has sex with a child under 16 years old is guilty of aggravated statutory. During the relevant time period as a Staunton police officer, Farwell was a mandatory reporter under Massachusetts law. So he got double barrel. aggravated statutory. Data from Birchmore's Facebook account reveals aspects of the beginning of Farwell and Birchmore's online communications. Specifically, Facebook data indicates that Farwell sent Birchmore a Facebook friend request on October 18th, 2012. At that time, Birchmore was 15 years old and a participant in Police Explorers. Farwell was her 26-year-old instructor. Excuse me while I cough. On February 21st, 2019, Birchmore and Farwell had a text message conversation about Farwell taking Birchmore's virginity. Birchmore told Farwell that she was happy that he took it. Later in the same conversation, Farwell acknowledged that it was a big thing to get to be her first. In the same text conversation, Farwell also reminisced about the first time he digitally penetrated Birchmore's vagina. Discussing the day that occurred, Farwell asked Birchmore if she would have done it if he told her he wanted her that day. Birchmore responded that she would have told him that he could have sex with her after school. She also recalled the specific class and seat that she was in when she realized that she was going to lose her virginity to Farwell. Based on my investigation, I believe that this occurred during the 2012-2013 school year when Birchmore was 15 years old. Additionally, on March 19th, 2019, Farwell asked Birchmore, "What would you have done if we never used a condom and I never pulled out?" Mary Jane, that was graphic, but we're still in the shallow end of the pool. Birchmore reassured Farwell that she would have still finished school. Birchmore then told Farwell, "I loved prom night. It was worth not going to the prom." I guess that is one thing also to bear in mind. Libby. Farwell is 6'4". She is 4'10". He's got her by nearly 2 feet. Well, 1.5 feet. On February 11th, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell discussed the exact day that Farwell took then 15-year-old Birchmore's virginity. Birchmore, "I had butterflies so big the day you took my virginity." Farwell, "Me too. It was such a big day. Still know the date to this day." "Really?" "Yes." Smiley face. "That's not a date I'll ever forget. It was April 10th, 2013. Smiley face. "Best day of my life." Face with heart emoji. "Me too," says Farwell. "The best day of his life," said Farwell. On June 19th, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell had the following conversation in which Farwell reminisced about his past criminal sexual abuse of Birchmore. "I'm glad you agreed to take my virginity, though." "Me too." "Lol. If I pushed, I absolutely could have fucked you without condoms from day one. Dude is married with a family. Yes. Yes, fleck the back. Exactly. Yeah. Probably if you really pushed it, I was kind of scared to say no in the beginning, not knowing how you'd take it. So yeah, you would have got no condoms. Lol." Other electronic messages confirmed that Farwell SA'd Birchmore when she was a child. Text messages between Birchmore and others confirm that Farwell SA'd Birchmore as a child and continued a sexual relationship with her until her death. For example, on October 5, 2020, Birchmore texted one of her friends, hereinafter person 1, that Farwell had begun having sex with her for the last almost 10, they had been having sex with her for the almost last 10 years, and that Farwell had taken her virginity before she was 16. On May 20, 2020, Birchmore told another friend that she had lost her virginity 5 days before the Boston Marathon bombing. Also on 5 October 2020, Birchmore prepared a draft text message to Farwell's wife. Birchmore was gonna rat him out. Birchmore sent this draft text to person one. The text states in part, I am just messaging to inform you that your husband, Matthew, has been out cheating on you since before you guys were even married. I'm aware that Farwell and his wife got married in May 2013, shortly before Birchmore turned 16. There is no known record indicating the draft message was sent to Farwell's wife. Other text messages between Farwell and Birchmore demonstrate his sexual interest in minors. We're ramping it up a notch here, people. So again, trigger warnings across the board. Other text messages between Farwell and Birchmore demonstrate his sexual interest in minors. Bifron says the cop is a predator. He's a fucking monster, Bifron. On June 15th, 2019, Farwell and Birchmore exchanged text messages in which they discussed role-playing their next sexual encounter. Farwell asked Birchmore how old she was going to pretend to be during that encounter. When Birchmore responded 14, Farwell replied with a smiley face emoji. In another conversation between Farwell and Birchmore on February 21st, 2020, Farwell describes pinning Birchmore down during sex and asking her, will you say, Matt, stop, I'm 13. I'm not ready for this. OMFG, please stop. That's what he wanted for role playing. He wanted to hold her down and have her say, Matt, stop, I'm 13. Fucking monster. I have also reviewed several text messages from 2020 in which Farwell instructs Birchmore to act as if he were her older brother coming into her room at night to have sex with her. Farwell was into incest with minors of 13 years of age-ish. That was his thing, apparently. Witnesses confirm that Farwell cultivated a close relationship with Birchmore when she was a child. Agents have interviewed one of Birchmore's friends here and after person 2 regarding Birchmore's relationship with Farwell. Person 2 indicated that shortly before her death, Birchmore revealed to her that Farwell was having sex with Birchmore when she was 15 years old. Agents have also interviewed one of Birchmore's relatives, who described being aware that Birchmore would meet with Farwell when Birchmore was a minor. Specifically, the family member indicated that around the time Birchmore was a freshman in high school, she would tell him or her that she was meeting with Farwell so he could help with her homework. I have reviewed text messages exchanged between Farwell and Birchmore from June 17th, 2019, where the two discuss how Farwell had helped her test prep at the library. Farwell told Birchmore that she should have told him that she was interested in having sex with him that day. Birchmore told him that she was scared to speak up. Farwell then asked, did you think I wouldn't want to fuck you? Birchmore responded, yes. And like, because of my age, I didn't want you to be like, oh no, WTF. Farwell then told her, I understand that. So in conversation from April 5th, 2020, Farwell told Birchmore that he knew he wanted to take her virginity when he started helping her with schoolwork. And additionally, on February 21, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell reminisced about when they first became sexually active. Hey guys, you're loud. I took the dogs to the office today, so they didn't get their nap, so they're sawing industrial strength logs at this point. Sorry about the doggo snore noises during this. February 21st, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell reminisced about when they first became sexually active. I listened better back then, though. I wish it had been a year sooner. Now, remember, she was 15 and he wanted it to be a year sooner. He wanted her when she was 14. After helping you study at the library, you still listen and gave me whatever I want, baby. I didn't even make you wait a year after that, said Birchmore. Oh, and good, but I don't think you're going to get what you want next time. Oh, of course, I'll just take it. You're not going to get what you want next time. So of course, I'll just take it. That's what you think. Good luck with that. What was the first day you said, oh my God, I want this guy to be my first and I want to feel him inside me? Yeah, so 2020, I finally decided I was going to try and find a way to fuck you and just wasn't sure how. How did you feel when I asked to make your dreams come true? Amazing, says Farwell. Good. Farwell, I absolutely would have fucked you in 12. In 12? Yes, 2012. So, when she was 13, not when she was 12. Fucking hell. Agents have also interviewed one of Birchmore's childhood friends here and after person 3. Person 3 confirmed that Birchmore would meet Farwell to help her with homework. Moreover, person 3 indicated that Birchmore confided in him or her that she was meeting with Farwell in early high school to have sex with him in his police car or truck. All right, let's take a little bit of a breather here and read some of the super chats and things and kind of cleanse the palate because we're about a quarter of the way through this. Oh my gosh! Pretty sure Mr. Cigar has gone out. Absolutely. This is heavy weighting, people, and like you know how every time I watch something after you guys have watched it and I'm amazed and stunned and horrified and you always say it gets worse. This gets worse. Much, much worse. This is Flaming Dragon. I had to read that again. For the $5 going towards Doggo Emotional Support Cam. Yeah, the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dog Cam is here. It's here locked and loaded with the 2 snore pigs. Jonathan Irwin. My neighbor has a French bulldog. Looks like something stuck a pug's head on a baby bulldog. That's a good description. That's a good description of a Frenchie. Thank you so much for Jonathan Irwin for the 5. And maybe $5. Can we call this loser something demeaning instead of using his name? Think it really, really loudly. Because at this point, it's still allegations and he's still legally innocent. He's legally innocent in the eyes of the law. So, this is all allegations. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right. Right. Are we 2? Let's get into section 2 here. After I have another drink. Yeah, we don't have to go by jury rules. This is the court of public opinion. We have our own. Evidence that Farwell committed federal offenses or possibly committed federal offenses by submitting false information to obtain wages for time spent engaging in sex acts with Birchmore. This is the lighter part of this is the lightest part of this. Just where he's billing the government for his time, which ends up being federal wire fraud. Farwell defrauded the Staunton Police Department and town of Staunton. On multiple occasions, Farwell engaged in sex acts with Birchmore while on duty as a Staunton police officer. To cover this up, Farwell falsely represented that he had worked certain hours when in fact he was not working. Rather, he was engaging in sex acts and spending time with Birchmore. Accordingly, Farwell's misconduct was also part of a scheme to obtain wages from the Staunton Police Department, an agency of the town of Staunton, through false statements or material omissions regarding the hours he was on duty and working as a police officer. Tanny Simmons. How are you doing? It has been a minute. What's up, Tanny? Good to see you here. Hi, Legal Vices. What's up, everybody? We're just reading a horrific document, a horrible, horrible, horrible document. All right, what have I done? I've done something here. I've pushed buttons. All right, here we go. I was looking for something. Why? Well, it is fraud specifically. How is it wire fraud? Oh, well, stand by. Please stand by. Your question will be answered in due time. Due course. Accordingly, Farwell's misconduct was also part of a scheme to obtain wages from Stoughton Police Department, an agency of the town of Stoughton, through false statements and material omissions regarding the hours he was on duty and working as a police officer. Farwell's text message with Birchmore indicated that he had sex with Birchmore while he was on duty as a Stoughton police officer. Text messages between Farwell and Birchmore indicate that on multiple occasions, Farwell left work during his shifts to meet and at times engage in sexual activity with Birchmore. These encounters occurred at various locations, including Birchmore's previous home in Stoughton, her more recent apartment in Canton, a Costco parking lot in Stoughton, and a Five Guys parking lot in Canton. What a classy mother effing act this guy is. Getting it on in a Costco parking lot and a Five Guys burger joint parking lot. Examples, not all of them. These are just examples of dates and approximate start times of these encounters. These are just a few. I reviewed messages that reveal that both Farwell and Birchmore knew that some of these encounters occurred while Farwell was on duty. For example, on April 10th, 2020, Farwell wrote, "I'm going to sneak away from work quick." On November 24th, 2020, Birchmore asked if Farwell would be on duty when the two were scheduled to meet. Farwell responded, "Yes, I will be on the clock." The text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, which precede several of the above listed encounters, contain statements indicating that the purpose for at least some of the encounters was to engage in sex acts. For example, on several occasions, Farwell sent Birchmore messages directing her to act as if she was being raped during the ensuing encounter. Here's the answer to your question. Quick Bites asked, while it was fraud, how specifically is it wire fraud? Here's the answer. Farwell's scheme to defraud caused interstate wire communications. The town of Stoughton pays Stoughton police officers on a bi-weekly basis. In or around 2020 and January 2021, Farwell received his paychecks via direct deposit to his account at a USAA federal savings bank. The paycheck funds originated with Rockland Trust Bank and were deposited in Farwell's account via an automated clearinghouse. Each automatic clearinghouse transfer originated outside of Massachusetts and or traveled through another state before terminating in Farwell's account. There's the answer to your question, Quick Bites. It was wire fraud because they wired the money to pay him for his fraudulent wage claims through banks in different states. So if he didn't sign up for direct deposit, they couldn't get him for wire fraud. Pretty much, kind of, basically, yeah. It was just because they wired his paycheck to him through several interstate banks. Accordingly, it appears that by engaging in sexual conduct when he should have been performing official duties as a police officer and obtaining pay for that time, Farwell may have committed wire fraud in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1343. Well, unfortunately, that's the end of the semi-lighthearted part of the charges against him. And again, remember that this is only the information that's provided in an affidavit in support of a motion to keep him detained until trial. So basically, they want him kept without bail. Farwell killed Birchmore. So now they have to show that he is a danger to the community. I don't even know what that means, Mary Jane. I found Danny through Runkle, and then I found Flux and Jeff. I knew Jeff as Runkle Stealer from Rob's stream. I don't even know what that means. But now I want Jeff over Runkle. Don't tell Runkle. What is a Runkle Stealer from Rob's stream? I don't even know what that means, but okay. All right. As described in detail below, there is evidence that Farwell killed Birchmore on February 1, 2021 to prevent her from disclosing information about his possible commission of the federal crimes listed above. Birchmore's pregnancy. On October 5, 2020, person 1 told Birchmore that Farwell's wife was pregnant with the couple's third child. Okay, yeah, so they had 2 children, and his wife was pregnant with her third child. I stole Runkle during Friday night frenzy. Okay, got it. Okay, person 1 indicated that the baby was due February 2021. Birchmore responded that she was going to tell Farwell's wife that he had been having sex with her, Birchmore, for nearly 10 years. In summary, electronic messages between Farwell and Birchmore for the period beginning on or about October 5, 2020 through January 2021 indicate that Birchmore presented Farwell with an ultimatum. So now Birchmore, she's giving an ultimatum to Farwell. Farwell would have to agree to engage in unprotected sex with Birchmore with the goal of conceiving a child. In return, Birchmore would not rat him out and disclose their relationship. Birchmore had already told others that Farwell had been having sex with her since she was 16 years old, which she knew was a crime. Before she was 16 years old, but she knew it was a crime. And Birchmore knew that Farwell was leaving work to have sex with her while he was on duty as a Stoughton police officer. According to text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, Birchmore sent Farwell a photo of her ovulation schedule, and the two started discussing timing their sexual encounters around specific times in Birchmore's cycle. Approximately 1 week after Farwell agreed to have unprotected sex in order to conceive a child, Farwell and Birchmore had a disagreement about the terms of their agreement. My throat's really raspy today. Approximately, okay, they had a disagreement about the terms of their agreement. The following is an excerpt from a text conversation on October 12, 2020. Farwell, I said the agreement was once. That was our compromise. I asked if we could try this month, didn't realize that you meant you fuck me once, lol. And then I asked if we could try this through this year, and you said you'd think about it. The conversation continued on October 13th, 2020. Our compromise was try once. Yeah, it was to try this month. So you're thinking about the second thing I said as far as the rest of the year? You said try once this month, and if it happens, it's meant to be. Those are the exact words. So there's a little tension getting in here. He's feeling a little pressure. She knows what she wants now. She wants his child. And it's, you give me the child or I rat you out. He's feeling the pressure, apparently. Mary Jane, she demanded the baby. Yes. Text messages indicate that a few weeks later, Birchmore continued to discuss trying to get pregnant. On November 3rd, 2020, she asked Farwell if they could try again that month or whether they would need to talk in person about that. Farwell responded, that's an in-person discussion. On November 5, 2020, Birchmore asked Farwell if he had given any more thought to their prior conversation and told him that she thought of a way they could both be happy. How do you feel about us having a baby? You being there and signing the birth certificate, there's never going to be a need for your information anyway, so you'll be safe there. And I won't talk shit about her or your kids. That way we both get what we want. You asked me the other day what I wanted, and I didn't want to give it to you in the form of an ultimatum, so I am trying to do it with you as a compromise type of thing. Can you tell me what you thought of? I'm down for discussing it in person, but the more I thought about you signing it really isn't going to have an impact on you because of the way things are going to fall in the future. I said, okay, that's an in-person discussion. On November 2020, after Birchmore learned that she was not yet pregnant, she asked Farwell about continuing to try to conceive for another month. On multiple occasions, Farwell told Birchmore that they would need to discuss that topic in person. Farwell continued to meet Birchmore in person, and text messages suggest that they remained sexually active. On December 28, 2020, Birchmore sent Farwell a text message informing him that she was pregnant. She sent him a photo of a poster she had made to celebrate the pregnancy. Congrats, we are going to be parents 2021. See, Melissa F. makes a good point here. He groomed her to be his thing for 10 years, basically from the time she was 12 years old. He groomed her allegedly to be his thing. And now once she's an adult, she's in her 20s, now she wants to be his thing and to have a family with him. And now he's like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Now he wants to cut it off. So yeah, that's remember that. This just wasn't someone trying to pressure someone into a baby. This is the result of 10 years of grooming from the time she was 12 years old. Sonny or Chris with the $5. This piece of shit sounds like a candidate for the wood chipper. Only if you put it on slow. AKA the cat lady of the $10. Thank you for covering this. It's appalling, but these things keep happening if we don't talk about them. Thank you for guiding us through the fury and for respecting Sandra beautifully. It's so cliche to say it is what it is, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, she just wanted to do what she'd been groomed for 10 years. He groomed her to be a sex toy. And, she's like, okay, we're in a relationship. Now let's take the relationship to the next level, the children. And then this. Tanny Simmons with the $5. This case is so tragic. You can tell this abuse stunted her growth. She had no idea who she was dealing with. An absolute predator. Jonathan Irwin with the $2. Now she's too old, 100. That is a definite possibility. So anyway, she's pregnant. She sends the photo of this poster. Farwell's immediate response to Birchmore's disclosure about the pregnancy was, I literally have nothing to say right now. How could you express that in a text when I said I don't appreciate it? Shit just got real for Farwell. These are the fruits of his 10 years of grooming. It's coming home to roost here. And now he's freaked out. Farwell and Birchmore then argued about the pregnancy in the following text conversation. How far are you? Regardless of how far, we're keeping it. See, he's like, how far are you? Not how far are we? How far are you? And she's still in relationship mode here. We are keeping it. That's a plural. You and I, we're a couple. We're together. We're together in this. We're a couple. Remember, we've been a couple for since 2013, basically. Yeah, but 3.5 weeks, which means I conceived this month. Okay, we need to talk then. No shit, that's obvious. And the birth certificate is being signed, or hers isn't. Hers is at the time of the text messages. I know that Farwell's wife was 8 months pregnant. Piece of shit. His own wife is 8 months pregnant, and he's knocked up another chick with his third child. Based on the context of these texts and prior messages, I believe Birchmore was referring to the birth certificate for the child that Farwell's wife was then carrying. So she's basically saying, look, we're in this together. We are keeping our baby. And if you don't sign my birth certificate, you ain't signing her birth certificate. No, I'm mad you're acting how you are over a choice we both made. I'm mad you act like you gave anyone a choice. Oh, you had a choice, motherfucker. You had a choice. Lamau, oh, so you didn't have a choice? Question mark. Per usual, you make and do whatever you want. Now he's lost control of her. All I did was say, I can have it. You said have what? And I said, you know what I'm asking for. And you stood up and said, yeah. You've been doing that. You're mad she's due in February and I am in September. And you don't know how you're going to be there for both of us. And you need to be there during labor for me too. Because your kid should matter. Late August, early September. You are truly the worst person on the face of the earth. Now she's the worst person on the face of the earth because she is trying to hold him responsible as the parent, as part of their team, their couple. We are having our child and you need to be there for our child. You need to figure out how to make it work with your two families is basically what she's saying. After the foregoing conversation, Birchmore again threatened to expose the truth about Farwell's prior sexual abuse and their ongoing relationship. Farwell responded by indicating that Birchmore had threatened him, causing him to agree to impregnate her. Now, I'm going to call logical bullshit on that. Someone wants to threaten you or blackmail you or whatever. You make me pregnant or I tell your wife. You go, oh my God, I don't want my wife to find out I'm having an affair. So you're pressured into impregnating them so your wife can find out that you were having an affair and you got somebody pregnant. It's quit while you're ahead. So I'm calling bullshit on his logic for this. I'm calling bullshit on his logic. I don't believe that. Oh, you do this or this happens. No, because then this is going to happen and then something else has already happened. So yeah, Farwell can just eat it. You can just eat a giant bag of dicks. For the past week and a half, this is Farwell again here. For the past week and a half, the doctor wasn't right, but now she was, and you just throw it at me because now you've got me. You honestly have absolutely no idea how to treat people. Oh, that's fucking rich, isn't it? That's fucking rich. Farwell tells her, you honestly have no idea how to treat people. I have fucking bent over backwards for you. Now you want to act like this was some free will decision? You have threatened me from the word go. If I didn't do and give you what you wanted, you would ruin me. Yeah, how the fuck did that work out for you, Farwell? How'd that work out for you? I made a deal with you and you changed the terms at every turn. We will deal with this tomorrow. Well. On December 29, 2020, this is escalating physical violence. Again, we have to show he's a danger to society if he's given bail and allowed to get out of jail pending trial. On December 29, 2020, Farwell and Birchmore met to talk in person. After this meeting, Birchmore sent Farwell a text alluding to a physical encounter. Birchmore said, it made me really uncomfortable and stressed out and scared when you were next to me because I thought you were going to hit me after you said what you said and took things out of my hand. That's why I was crying. I know you wouldn't, but it still scared me. At least 3 witnesses have disclosed that in the weeks before her death, Birchmore told them that Farwell was physically violent when Birchmore and Farwell discussed the pregnancy. According to records, again, this is the size difference. Again, according to death records, Birchmore is 4 feet 10 inches tall. Let's see, for those of you that aren't cool enough to use the imperial measurement system, convert 4 feet 10 inches to centimeters. That's 147 centimeters. She's 147 centimeters, and he is about 200 centimeters. I guess it'd be about 196 centimeters. So 147 centimeters and 196 centimeters. Little bit of a height, a little bit of a size difference there. AKA the cat lady, my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. Shit. Military records indicate Farwell was 6'4" tall. Person 2 reported that in the weeks prior to Birchmore's death, she was over the moon about her pregnancy. According to Person 2, Birchmore had decreased her coffee consumption, discussed winter clothes for her future baby. Now, see, these are all things that people who are going to delete themselves don't do. Decreased her coffee consumption, discussed winter clothes for the future baby, and engaged in FaceTime calls with Person 2 while selecting baby clothes. Person 2 indicated that Birchmore was nervous about telling Farwell about her pregnancy, but that she eventually did. In January 2021, Birchmore called Person 2 and stated that after telling Farwell about the baby, Farwell told her that he, quote, he wished she would die, and he wants nothing to do with the baby. According to the information Birchmore shared with Person 2, Farwell put Birchmore in a headlock and grabbed her cell phone from her hand. Person 2 told Birchmore to distance herself from Farwell, given that he was dangerous, that he was a police officer, and obviously did not care about the law. However, Person 2 was also aware that Birchmore appeared to be attached to Farwell because he had taken her virginity when she was 15 years old. Person 3 also indicated that in the days before her death, Birchmore disclosed that Farwell had been violent. Approximately 10 days before Birchmore's death, Birchmore and Person 3 went to Walmart to buy a baby stroller for Birchmore's future child. Birchmore was excited about the baby and asked Person 3 to be the child's godmother. Birchmore told Person 3 that the day prior, Farwell had gotten angry with her for showing him a fetal sonogram. According to Birchmore, Farwell told her, "That's not my child. I don't want anything really to do with you." And then Farwell pushed her to the ground. Person 3 told Birchmore to end the relationship with Farwell. Person 3 indicated that Birchmore seemed scared, but not ready to leave Farwell because Farwell had been such a big part of Birchmore's life for several years. Additionally, Person 7, Birchmore's longtime therapist, reported that in the weeks before Birchmore's death, Birchmore reported to her that Farwell got upset about the impending pregnancy and shoved her. In addition to these descriptions, Farwell's violence targeting Birchmore from Persons 2, Person 3, and Person 7, Birchmore's text messages to Person 1 further confirm Farwell's escalating violence. On January 10th, 2021, Birchmore sent Person 1 a text message indicating that she had recently argued with Farwell. Birchmore told Person 1 that during the argument, Farwell took her cell phone out of her hand 3 times and refused to give it back to her. Birchmore also indicated that Farwell took her computer out of her hand and that he used his body to shove her. Okay, let's take another little bit of a breather here. just a little palate cleanser, if you don't mind, as we're about halfway through, and it gets significantly worse from here on out. So we just kind of need to take a minute here to kind of reboot a little bit. Ginger with a Soul, member for 13 months. Hey, Ginger, what's up? Thank you so much for the support. This is disgusting, but here I am, as I have been since you started. My morning vices. Well, good morning, Ginger with a Soul. I apologize for not providing you with the usual entertainment, fun, and laughter, but this is now a very, very serious case. And Nancy Joe M with the $20 super sticker. You are amazing. Oh, thank you, Nancy Joe M. You are darned amazing yourself. Thank you so much. Now I have to do math here. Hang on. We're approaching that time. What do we got going here? Have to do conversion math. Okay. Plus. Okay, hang on here. Oh. Now I got distracted. I have to do lawyer math again, backwards. Divided by. So remember that if I can't. All right, we have reached the first goal, because Nancy Joe M just dropped 5 Legal Vices memberships. We combine those two together, and you get yourself a foghorn. Thank you so very much. It's this is something that might be much needed here today. Gosh, why is my throat so dry? I better not. Summer colds are the worst. I better not be getting a summer cold. I hate summer colds. They never go away. Could be the vid. The vid's going around. No, well, that was exactly what I didn't want to do. By the way, as we mentioned yesterday, my mouse is shot to hell. My new mouse arrives tomorrow. So this problem should resolve itself tomorrow. This flailing around like I don't know what I'm doing. Because this time I actually do. All right, what just happened before I did that? So we got the okay, member for 14 months, Chloe Albert. Where you go here? Chloe Albert's Revenge, member for 4 months. We should get complimentary emotional support doggos for this. Well, we're there right now. That's what all of this fuss I'm making is about. We have gotten there. So let me do this and share that. Who do we want? Let's see. We'll start with Yoda, because Yoda is just here being Yoda. Like I said, they went to the office with me today, and they didn't get their usual nap time, so they're extra tired. But we have, through the good graces of all of you, got to that point of the show that we like to call Release the Hose. And there's Master Yoda. For those of you that, how many people do we have here? We've got 600 people here right now, by the way. Thank you very much, 600 people. We've got 600 people here and 53 on Rumble. So welcome 53 people on Rumble and the 600 here on YouTube. This is what we do. We get to the $100 mark, and that unlocks the emotional support potato pig dog cam, 2 English bulldogs. That is Yoda. And over here we have Strawberry. But Yoda tends to go into the living room and go to sleep on the sofa earlier. So anyway, this is Yoda. Oh, my fan just shut itself off. I wonder if it has an automatic timer. Anyway, turn my fan back on. That's the snoring you've been hearing in the background. These two, the Yoda and Strawberry, the English bulldogs. Right. So while we're here, we've got 495 likes. Thank you very, 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 very much for the likes. Appreciate that. Right now, while we're almost at the 2-hour mark, we've probably got another hour or so to go, but to get through all of this. So bear with me. If you would just take this time to reach down there and smash that like button if you haven't already done that, and to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed or believe yourself to be subscribed, just double check to make sure you are still subscribed, please. That's really all. I don't want to get bogged down in the griftiness of this here stream. because that's not what this stream is about. This is just a rough stream to handle. So, all right. I think we've got everything out of the way here. Chloe Albert's Revenge, Nancy Joe's 5 memberships. If you got one of those 5 memberships, make sure you give Nancy Joe a super special. Thanks. And yeah, that's it. Let's get back into it. Rats. I mean, this is the one good thing that Tug has about not having his camera on. He doesn't, he can just light up his cigar any old time, and all you hear is the torch. I just have to make a big spectacle of it. Okay, in June 2021, there was increasing pressure on Farwell. So Birchmore was giving more pressure on him. In January 2021, the pressure on Farwell increased as a result of Birchmore's pregnancy. Birchmore tried to communicate with Farwell regarding her due date, ultrasounds, genetic testing, gender reveals, and doctor appointments. In his text responses, Farwell was unresponsive to or dismissive of these topics, and he appeared to ignore them. On January 4th, we're closing in on the day of the murder. On January 4th, 2021, Birchmore told Farwell that she was going to the doctor the next day and asked if he wanted to know how the appointment went. Farwell did not directly respond to that question. On January 5, the following day, Birchmore asked Farwell to come over so they could. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit extra creepy and much darker. Birchmore asked Farwell to come over so they could discuss her estimated due date, the week of her first ultrasound, her conversation with her doctor, and her first appointment. Farwell did not directly respond to that request. Text messages from January 3rd, 21 show that Birchmore asked Farwell if their child could have his last name. However, he told her he would not discuss the issue via text message. So I have a compromise for you. You don't need to sign the birth certificate if the baby can have your last name. Not discussing it in text, we can talk in person. In another text message on January 6th, 2021, Birchmore began to ask Farwell what their family would look like. See, she has been programmed. She has been groomed, brainwashed, and programmed to see only what's going on in his, she's part of this relationship with him. And like, what is our family going to look like? I know you've got another family, but what's our family going to look like? Birchmore, you don't have to sign the birth certificate if I'm allowed to at least list you, and they can have your name, and I won't move to Stoughton or the town where Farwell's family resides. I won't bitch about holidays, but I would like you to come a few days before Christmas and Easter so you can see what they get from me, and I don't want you to leave them out. And 3, if you want to try and support them, we can talk about that, but I do want you to see them. I feel like I'm trying to be as fair as I can, and I want you there for labor. That I'm standing my ground on. Birchmore, last name. All right, Farwell, okay, we can discuss this more in person. Okay, I figured. Does it kind of sound okay to you? Farwell's reluctance to discuss the pregnancy via text message is significant because it is consistent with Farwell and Birchmore's long history of text message discussions regarding seemingly private topics. For example, there are thousands of text messages between Farwell and Birchmore in which Farwell discusses details regarding his work as a police officer, his sexual fantasies that were predominantly violent and included many references to choking and rape and graphic details about their previous sexual encounters. So he'll talk about wanting to grape her and imagine her as a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old or 14-year-old, but he doesn't want to discuss putting his name on the birth certificate via text message. Farwell says, "It is a lot to think about. It's so much more than you have ever asked for. and still less than what any other girl would ask for, Birchmore replied. Moving ever closer to the day of the murder, on January 20, 2021, person 2 called the Stoughton Police Department. This is what they were talking about, that someone called and ratted him out to the police. Called the Stoughton Police Department, and in that call referenced the sexual relationship between Birchmore and Farwell. After learning about this call, the fact of which suggested at least some aspects of Farwell's illicit conduct may have been exposed to the Stoughton Police Department, Farwell sent Birchmore text messages revealing his extreme anger. He sent her a series of text messages with expletives telling Birchmore that he thought no one knew about their relationship and she had no clue how bad this was, and indicating that he does not know if he needs to worry about other disclosures. Dude, your fucking friend called my job, Sandra. What the fuck? ? Your friend, person 2, just called my fucking work to complain about me. WTF? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I literally just woke up. Did you steal from her? No. What's going on? You also told me that no one knew about us, yet she claimed we are fucking. It's literally nothing. It's not nothing. She called my job. That's insane. Why would she call and drop my fucking name, Sandra? Like, what do I have to do with you not giving her something? Like, you have no idea how bad what she did is. I literally can't believe this is even real life. Like, what else do I have to worry about now? Which other friend will do something tomorrow? Now he's scared. During this investigation, I have interviewed person 5, an employee of the Stoughton Police Department who received the call from person 2 on January 20, 2021. Let's wait. Person 5 did not have an independent memory of the date of the call, but I have confirmed such date through business records. Person 5 indicated that she took down person 2's name and information and gave it to Farwell. So apparently that's all they did. Is someone said, Farwell is having sex with Birchmore or whatever else they may have said, and said, okay, fine, and just gave that message to Farwell. Just gave that message to Farwell. Apparently that was it. Person 5 indicated that Farwell immediately got angry and pissed off and ordered person 5 not to speak about this to anyone and to never talk about it again. So literally, I guess, police department person takes the phone call and says, oh, he was having sex with this girl? And he says, hey, he or she says, hey, Farwell, here's a note. This is a telephone memo. Somebody said you were having sex with his other girl. And he freaks out and says to the other police officer, don't speak about this to anyone and never talk about it again. And apparently they didn't. How about that shit? That's crazy. Well, Birchmore's final days. Person 5 described Farwell's reaction as atypical and not consistent with normal behavior. Birchmore's final days. On January 24th, 2021. Yeah, Jonathan Irwin, well, we were warned that it gets worse. It ain't anywhere near as bad as it's going to get in about, 10 pages. I'm gonna do a completely separate trigger warning and invitation for people to leave in 10 pages. Because it gets really, really bad starting at page 33. approximately 1 week prior to Birchmore's death, she communicated with person 8 about Farwell. So the father came by last night, and it was like a complete 360 change. 180? Yeah, lol. Good or bad? Good, but unexpected. So it kind of threw me off and made me a little uncomfortable. So 2 weeks, well, 1 week before she's killed, he shows up all completely changed, and he was freaking her out before because he was being so standoffish. Now he's kind of freaking her out because he's just come around and he's like, okay, everything's going to be cool, I guess. It kind of threw me off and made me a little uncomfortable, but that's because of how things were going. He asked me if I'd give him a key and said that if I kept it a secret, he'll be around and see them and all of that. So it's somewhere. A week before she turns up dead, he asks her for a key to her apartment. So it's somewhere. Then he looked in my closet, the closet where she was found hung a week later. Keep that in mind too. Asks for a key, then looks in her closet, and then the bathroom, but I don't know why, haven't figured that out. Well, I think we know why. We started to heart, then work called him, so he had to leave. Oh, and he brought me a ginger ale because I ran out. What about the birth certificate? I think he's signing it. It's not sure. I think he's signing it, not sure. He's coming back again next week. Now, remember, this text thing, this thing happened 1 week before the murder, and he said he's coming back again in 1 week. But it was like a complete 180 from where we were at. Based on my training and experience, I believe that Farwell's shift in demeanor on or about this date was his attempt to appease Birchmore until he could kill her. Additionally, the foregoing text messages, considered in light of other evidence, suggest that Farwell was making a plan to kill Birchmore. Part of that plan included asking Birchmore to give him a key and keep it secret. Another part of the plan was inspecting various rooms of Birchmore's apartment, including the closet, to determine whether they contained items or presented options for how and when to kill Birchmore. On February 4th, 2021, Canton police found Birchmore's body next to the closet door. That would be Detective Lank that found her body. And on February 5th, that's when Kevin Albert went to the house. Canton police found Birchmore's body next to the closet door with a duffel bag strap around his neck. The strap was wrapped around the closet door handle. So it was like a prison hanging. It wasn't like a hanging from the rafters or hanging from the shower curtain or rod. It was hanging from the doorknob. So it was one of those sitting down strangulation things. It was apparently how he staged it to look. Farwell's request for a key to Birchmore's apartment in the week leading up to her death is corroborated by other evidence. I've reviewed text messages between Farwell and Birchmore from January 24th, 2021, in which Birchmore gave Farwell the passcode to her building's front door and told him, "I have your key too when you want it." Additionally, I have reviewed records from Walmart that suggest Birchmore did, in fact, pay approximately $2 to have a key copied at approximately 11:10 a.m. on January 24th, 2021. According to text messages Birchmore and Farwell exchanged on January 29th, 2021, Birchmore again gave Farwell the passcode to her building's front door. And Farwell verified that the code was the general one given to the entire building, not just one assigned to her. Farwell requesting or accepting a key to Birchmore's apartment was a sudden change from recent conversations. I have reviewed text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, one as recent as October 14th, 2020, in which Farwell told her he did not think it was a good idea for him to keep a key to her new Canton apartment. In a conversation with her friend Person 9 on January 24th, Birchmore indicated that she was surprised that Farwell was now requesting a key to her apartment. Did it go good with him? I got hit with a shocker question. Can I call you? So what really well, surprisingly, he asked if he could have a key. I am basically said he'll be around as long as I keep it a secret and don't tell anybody. But he did admit that I do have the upper hand in the situation, which isn't a good thing, but I'm trying to and not be that person, if you know what I mean. I get it. Are you going to give him a key? Yeah, I just made a copy of it. Yeah, well, that's good. I'm going to give it to him yet, but he also brought me a ginger ale last night like I asked him to. Person 9 says, oh, he's coming around. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Thanks for pointing that out. Sorry, I was not aware of that. A lot more than I thought he was going to, yes. I still have to verify the PIN for him to get into the apartment if he rings me and I don't answer. But like last night, he opened my closet door for something. And then he went in my bathroom, looking at my bathroom. And then I have a dolly in my living room, and he asked why I had it. It was just really odd. He started looking around. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, it was really weird. According to text messages between Farwell and Birchmore 2 days before Birchmore's death, she continued to engage Farwell about planning for the birth of their child. On January 30th, 2021, Birchmore asked Farwell if she could tell him the baby names she was considering. Farwell told her he would rather discuss that topic in person. Leading up to February 1, 2021, Birchmore planned for other important baby-related events. Again, this is like just literally the day before, up to the day of the murder. Actually, she was planning baby-related events, such as who would care for her cats when she went into labor. That is not something that someone who plans on deleting themselves would normally do. Continue to make plans for who's going to take care of the cats when she goes into labor and other things. She ordered baby items and conducted Google searches related to her pregnancy and future child-rearing decisions. She also planned for newborn baby photos, an official pregnancy announcement, which she planned to do on Valentine's Day, as well as a gender reveal. She also made plans for her more immediate future, scheduling an OBGYN appointment for February 10 and asking Farwell to help shovel out her car during the impending snowstorm. See, these are the things that if the police office there in Canton had done even the least little bit of serious investigation, if they'd asked simple questions, if they had investigated anything surrounding her life, it should be patently obvious. This is not behavior of someone who plans on deleting themselves. You don't go out of the trouble of ordering stuff from Amazon or whatever, buying stuff to make OBGYN appointments for 10 days after you plan on taking your own life and doing these things. These should raise huge flags with the police. You should raise massive, massive, bright red flags that all is not as it appears to be. Apparently, all they had to do was talk to her friends, look at her appointments, and things like that. None of this was done, apparently. And if it was done, it was buried. So this is disgusting. This is disgusting. This is the same police people that were involved in Karen Reed's life. It's gross. Chloe Albert's revenge with a $1.99 super chat. On a light note, I loathe gender reveals. Who doesn't? I hate those things too. The planning of the note. The planning is of note because it indicates that shortly before her death, Birchmore was doing things that indicated her plans for the future. It's also important because it reveals a level of care for her pets that is inconsistent with the circumstances of her death. Specifically, when police found Birchmore's body in her apartment on February 4th, 2021, the cats were present. She had made no arrangements for the animals. During the investigation, agents also learned that Birchmore had been taking classes in preparation for applying to nursing school. She asked Farwell to help shovel out her car during an impending snowstorm. Tease T just dropped a biggie on us here, people. Tease T just gifted 10 Legal Vices memberships. That gets you a foghorn, Tease T. Thank you so very much. If you are one of the lucky people that got one of those 10 Legal Vices memberships from Tease T, make sure you give Tease T a super special thanks. And thanks to the 651 people that are here right now and the 545 likes. Let's see if we can boost that up to 600. That'd be great. Thanks. But again, I don't want to get too far off. So all these things are indications that she has zero plans on self-deletion here. None, zero, because she's making plans for the future, but yet she's not preparing. Like she's already made plans apparently for her cat when she goes into labor in September, but she hasn't made plans to take care of her cats when she deletes herself in 2 days. The signs are freaking obvious. Well, that gets us to the day Birchmore died. On February 1, 2021 at 12:19 p.m., Birchmore sent Farwell text messages indicating that she was going to be released early at 12:35 from her job at the Sharon Public Schools. Farwell told her that he would not be in the area that day. Later in the afternoon on February 1, 2021, Birchmore told Farwell that she had received an early gift in the mail and she was not planning to have a baby shower until late March because of the then ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. She told Farwell that once she learned whether they were having a boy or a girl, she wanted him to purchase clothes for the child to wear when he or she came home from the hospital. Investigators reviewed surveillance videos from Birchmore's Canton apartment building. On February 1, 2021, she is seen on the video at approximately 5:01 p.m. accepting a DoorDash order, and then again going outside briefly and returning with a snow brush at 5:31 and 5:33 p.m. respectively. The last time Birchmore is seen alive on the video is on February 1, 2021 at 5:33 p.m. Later that evening at approximately 9:08 p.m., Farwell sent Birchmore a text message asking whether he could come by for a second. At approximately 9:10 p.m., Birchmore sent Farwell a text message indicating that when he arrived at her apartment, the door would be open for him. This is the last known outgoing message sent from Birchmore's cell phone. Surveillance video shows Farwell entering Birchmore's Canton apartment building at 9:14 p.m. I'm aware that the electronic timestamp on the apartment complex's surveillance video system was off by approximately 13 minutes. The surveillance video times set forth in this affidavit account for this 13-minute difference and are therefore the approximate real times of the events. I reviewed Massachusetts State Police investigative reports which tentatively identify Farwell as the person on surveillance footage entering Birchmore's apartment on February 1, 2021. I have also reviewed a report regarding state police detectives' interview of Farwell in which Farwell admitted that he went to Birchmore's apartment on February 1, 2021. In that interview, Farwell stated that he had been there between approximately 9:10 and 9:30 p.m. In the surveillance video, Farwell is wearing street clothes, a hoodie with the hood up, and a face mask that is similar to the medical face masks that many people use during the COVID-19 pandemic. I've interviewed multiple witnesses who have each indicated that Farwell resisted wearing a mask during the pandemic. Seems like he was wearing it to disguise his appearance, I would say. One of these witnesses stated that Farwell would only wear a mask when on duty and required by department policy to do so. The video surveillance recording shows that Farwell left Birchmore's apartment at 9:43 p.m. Jill M's, this case started, this was the date of the murder, February 1st, 2021. And the FBI investigation, I think, is, someone correct me, tell me the exact times, like 18 months to 2 years, I think, is how long the FBI investigation has been going on. And it's as a result of this FBI investigation that the FBI stumbled upon the Karen Reed case that involves some of the same police officers. Canton police officers found Birchmore's body on February 4th, 2021. On February 4th, 2021, Canton police officers conducted a well-being check at Birchmore's apartment. One of Birchmore's co-workers called the police because Birchmore had failed to show up for work that day. When officers arrived, they found Birchmore's body seated on the floor in a reclined position with a duffel bag strap tied around her neck. The strap was connected to her closet doorknob, the closet that Farwell had inspected approximately 1 week earlier. At least one first responder quickly concluded that Birchmore had been deceased for days. I've reviewed crime scene photographs that depict Birchmore wearing the same clothing that she was wearing when she is seen on video entering her apartment on February 1, 2021 at approximately 5:33 p.m. This is consistent with Birchmore having died that same evening. Yeah, it is. According to police reports, when Birchmore's body was found, her cell phone was on the floor, located approximately 12 inches from her right hand and 6 inches from her bent right knee. I reviewed the data on Birchmore's phone. A log report indicates that the phone was locked from 9:13 p.m. on February 1 until the device powered off because of battery loss on February 3rd. On February 1, while still locked, Birchmore's phone recorded a screenshot of a black screen at 9:18 p.m. In other words, after sending a final text message to Farwell to tell him the door was unlocked, Birchmore's phone locked and was not unlocked until after the device was recovered by police. Yes, his wife was 8 months pregnant at this time with their third child. Health data on Birchmore's phone indicates that the last movement recorded by the phone on February 1, 2021 occurred at 9:40 p.m. That was 3 minutes before Farwell was captured on surveillance video leaving Birchmore's apartment. The timing matches up. It's hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with the time. He's there. He says, "Can I come over?" He comes over. There's no more text between the two of them. The phone stops moving. 3 minutes later, he's seen leaving the apartment. Yes. Scorpion asked the question. Where'd he go? What have you seen to indicate it was the case that got them onto Karen Reed's case? It was very well answered here by me, myself. The same players, Lank, Kevin Albert, Garino, Morrissey, the same medical examiner's office that said it was a suicide. Yeah. They never brought the charges against him, and they just start looking. The FBI has been very, very thorough, and these are some of the things that led them to stumble on to Karen Reed's case. right, so all the times match up. As noted above, first responders ultimately found the phone next to Birchmore's body. Based on my review of the frequency of Birchmore's phone use over weeks, months, and years leading up to her death, her failure to access her phone is inconsistent with her usual habits when alive and awake. So essentially, she's been, well, let's read the footnote here. Based on my training experience, I'm aware that Apple iPhones can be used to track and retain health-related data of the user, including but not limited to steps taken. See, this is one of these things that had she been wearing an Apple Watch, it would have recorded when her heart stopped. That's kind of weird and just a little bit creepy, isn't it? I have also interviewed multiple witnesses who reported on Birchmore's frequent, almost incessant phone use. In fact, one witness referred to Birchmore's phone as her third hand. So she's on her phone all the time. It's on the phone. They're on the phone all the time. And then suddenly she stops looking at her phone. There's more to that than Scorpion. Than that, Scorpion. While I read that, if someone wants to fill him in more on the what assumed him, I've assumed gender. Someone wants to do fill Scorpion in on some more of the ties that led them to stumble across the Karen Reed case during their investigation of the non-investigation of crimes. Please feel free, because we're just about to get into the heavy part of this. I reviewed Birchmore's phone use from the hours leading up to her death on February 1, 2021. The following, what have we done here? Yeah. Smartphones know everything. The following are some of the items in Birchmore's phone data from the hours before her death. This is evidence that appears to be inconsistent with Birchmore, a pregnant woman choosing to die by suicide that day. This is the day of her. Is this the day of her death or the day before her death? The hours before her death. So she's checking with a photographer regarding taking newborn shots. She's texting friends to obtain baby clothes. She's searching Google for chubby kids furniture. The condition of and items found in Birchmore's apartment were inconsistent with Birchmore dying of self-deletion. I apologize. I apologize for misgendering you, Scorpion. I'm a fabulous female, but I have a very male first name, so it's funny you'd assume male. Well, Scorpion just doesn't seem like, like a girl thing, but yeah, what do I know? I'm just a crusty old cisgendered white male, I think Scorpion, I think it'd be like, a name that a male would put, but I stand corrected. All right, here's more evidence that she did not self-delete. These are things that normally someone would not do, that normally they would not do if they were intending to self-delete. I have interviewed family members who helped to clean Birchmore's apartment in the days following her death. Some of the things they observed were also inconsistent with Birchmore deciding to die by suicide. For example, during their first visit, they noted that Birchmore had been in the middle of doing laundry when she died, with a load of wet clothes in the washing machine and another load dry in the dryer. Yeah, just sort of deciding to delete yourself during the spin cycle. That's not a normal thing. Excuse me while I cough again here. Wet ye oldie whistle. So yeah, she's in the middle of laundry when she dies. Additionally, they observed a homemade sign saying, "Congratulations, you're going to be a father." The sign had an ultrasound photo on it and was sprinkled with glitter. Additionally, in Birchmore's apartment, family members observed a new baby stroller that was still in its package. They also observed homemade and store-bought onesies for a baby. One onesie read, "We are going to be parents," with a set of footprints underneath. Birchmore had packages that had been delivered recently, including clothing and other supplies for her baby. Birchmore had ordered items shortly before her death, and packages continued to arrive in the days following her death. Yes, we're seeing things that do not indicate self-deletion. But nobody investigated it. Nobody looked, nobody cared. Finally, family members found a necklace that belonged to Birchmore lying on the floor of the bedroom. This necklace consisted of a thin gold chain with a pink flamingo charm. The family members observed that the necklace's chain was broken, but not at the clasp. A broken necklace on the floor. There was also a large clump of hair on the chain. How do the fucking police miss this shit? A broken necklace with a clump of hair on it. Come on. You have to actively not look for shit to come away with. You don't even have to look at the medical examination report to see that this is not a self-deletion. A broken necklace with a clump of hair in it? Seriously? Laying on the floor? From my review of the crime scene photos, I observed that while the strap was still around Birchmore's neck, the necklace was broken and hanging from the side of her neck. The necklace's charm was on the right side of her abdomen. I'm sorry, it wasn't even on the floor. It was fucking on her. It was still on her body. Autopsy and quote, I'm going to put air quotes around medical evidence. The medical examiner, pathologist here and after medical examiner, performed an autopsy on Birchmore's body. The medical examiner determined that Birchmore's cause of death was asphyxia by hanging. The medical examiner ruled Birchmore's manner of death a self-deletion. The medical examiner's written autopsy report noted that Birchmore's hyoid bone, a U-shaped bone at the front of the neck, was fractured on the right side, and she suffered from petechial hemorrhages of the bulbar and palpably the reviharis and everything. She suffered from injuries. Additionally, the medical examiner concluded that Birchmore had a hemorrhage of her left sternothyroid muscle. The medical examiner's autopsy report further confirmed that Birchmore was approximately 8 to 10 weeks pregnant at the time of her death. The autopsy included toxicology testing. The results of the toxicology test were negative for all substances except for sertraline, which was likely explained by the antidepressants Birchmore had been prescribed. As part of the investigation, the government retained Dr. William Smock as an expert to and by the government they mean the United States, the federal government, the FBI folks. They got Dr. Smock as an expert to independently review the crime scene photos, autopsy photos, and the medical examiner's autopsy report. Dr. Smock is an emergency medicine residency and forensic fellowship trained physician with more than 40 years of experience in the forensic evaluation of injuries, crime scenes, the forensic evaluation and reconstruction of wounds, including asphyxia-related deaths. His training, experience, and position as a police surgeon, instructor at the Louisville Metro Police Academy, instructor for the U.S. Department of Justice, a professor of emergency medicine, medical director of an EMS service, physical and medical advisor to the FBI and U.S. Marshals Service, and an assistant medical examiner with the Kentucky Medical Examiners, includes the emergency treatment, investigation, and reconstruction of asphyxia-related deaths, and the analysis of crime scene for evidence of alteration. That is one qualified motherfucker right there. This guy has all the qualifications. What qualifications do you have, sir? I have all of the qualifications. This is a qualified man. He has treated and evaluated thousands of patients, both fatally and non-fatally injured, who have experienced the physiological consequences of asphyxia, including strangulation. Dr. Smock has written, lectured extensively, and trained thousands of law enforcement officers, physicians, nurses, judges, and attorneys on evidence collection, crime scene investigation, the analysis and reconstruction of wounds, injury mechanisms, and medical risks and consequences of asphyxia. More qualifications. This guy he has all the qualifications and then extra. He has them all plus some. Based on his review of the evidence, Dr. Smock has made several observations and conclusions that call into question the prior finding that Birchmore's cause of death was self-deletion, and instead further confirm that Birchmore's cause of death was homicide. First, Dr. Smock concluded that the fracture of the right superior horn of Birchmore's thyroid bone is not consistent with the position in which first responders found her, sitting. A sitting hanging is called an incomplete hanging, meaning only partial body weight is applied to the neck ligature. Dr. Smock's review of hundreds of cases of hangings in the forensic medical literature found no reported cases of hyoid bone fractures in seated women. Fractures of the bone are more commonly seen in strangulation assaults and in hangings with full body weight applied to the ligature, but not seated hangings. Second, Dr. Smock noted that during the autopsy, a pattern imprint was documented on Birch's right upper chest. A pattern imprint was documented on Birchmore's upper right chest. The pattern imprint was the consequence of a buckle or buckles from the ligature strap being forced downwards into Ms. Birchmore's chest. The presence of this pattern imprint is not consistent with a ligature hanging. Rather, the presence of this pattern is consistent with blunt force trauma from an assault. When first responders found Birchmore's body, the buckle responsible for this imprint was observed just below her right ear. However, the location of the imprint on her chest is not consistent with an incomplete ligature hanging. Third, as if we need a third, Dr. Smock revealed the autopsy photos that depict Birchmore with areas of skin missing from the inferior and lateral aspects of her nose are consistent with abrasions. These types of injuries are commonly seen in cases of suffocation when the victim moves their nose back and forth in an effort to breathe. Fourth, Dr. Smock noted that Birchmore was in a habit of always wearing a chain necklace with a flamingo pendant. The chain was found broken around Birchmore's neck. The breaking of Birchmore's chain and necklace is consistent with a struggle. Dr. Smock said in his education experience, training, and his review of the materials in the case, opined with a reasonable degree of medical scientific certainty, those are the magic words, a reasonable degree of medical scientific certainty that the cause of Ms. Birchmore's death is asphyxia and that the manner of her death is homicide. Massachusetts State Police interview with Farwell. All right. Tracy Fagan with the $2 says, yeah, Massachusetts State Police missed that. Yeah, right. C Case has been a member for 12 months. Thank you so much, C Case, for the support for a whole year. Thank you. And AKA the Cat Lady, do you think this will be a RICO case eventually? No, they'll go after whoever they need to go after one at a time. They'll take them down one at a time. On February 6th, 2021, 2 days after police found Birchmore's body in her apartment, Massachusetts State Police detectives interviewed Farwell. Ooh, well, congratulations. They interviewed him. The interview occurred in the parking lot of a Stoughton Elementary School. During this interview, that's a great place to interview him, isn't he? Isn't it? In a parking lot of an elementary school, rather than in an interrogation room at the police department. During his interview, Farwell made several false statements about his relationship with Birchmore. Farwell told officers that he was involved in a sexual relationship with Birchmore, but he claimed the relationship only began in 2020. Yeah, he didn't want to admit to aggravated statutory rape of a minor, did he? Nope. Based on this investigation, Farwell's statement to detective was false. As described above, Farwell began having sex with Birchmore in 2013 and continued to have sex with her until near her death. Farwell told detectives that he only had sex with Birchmore 2 or 3 times in the previous year. Also false. Based on text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, Farwell had sexual intercourse with Birchmore on at least 10 occasions between January 1st and February 1st between January 1, 2020 and February 1, 2021. Farwell told detectives that he could not have been the father of Birchmore's unborn child because the last time he had intercourse with her was October 2020. This statement is also false. Set forth below is a text message conversation between Farwell and Birchmore on November 18th, 2020, in which they discussed an upcoming sexual encounter. I'm going to try for tonight. I've been in interviews all day from the murder. Sorry. Exciting. Okay, I'm running to the store. I'm doing something for you then. I hope you can come. What are you doing for me? Lol, shaving. Are you planning on rolling me over? I need to know what you want if you come. If you want me to roll you, would you want me to use a condom if I roll you? I don't have any, lol. I never picked any up. Do you want me to just take what you do or try and say no? I know being told no is your favorite. Say no. And there's a whole bunch of stuff redacted here. Persons with severe mental illness. We missed a lot of something here. There's a lot of something that's not here. However, the Staunton Police Department, the law enforcement agency in the town where Birchmore lived her whole life before moving to Canton on or about December 20th, 2020, has a record of Birchmore being subject to this temporary mental health hospitalization only one time in May of 2020. According to police records and information disclosed by Person 7 on that day, Birchmore had gotten into a fight with a family member who called the police and reported Birchmore was going to harm herself. The police took Birchmore to the hospital where she was evaluated and deemed not at risk for self-harm. She was released a few hours later. According to Person 7, Birchmore stated that she was not suicidal, just angry at her family member. Additionally, I am aware that minutes after Birchmore's release from this unfounded section, Farwell and Birchmore engaged in graphic sexual conversation. Later, Birchmore apologized for worrying Farwell, and Farwell replied, I wasn't worried. I knew you were fine. The Canton Police Department has no record of Birchmore being subject to temporary mental health hospitalization. While there is evidence that indicates that Birchmore may have had ideations on a few occasions between 2016 and 2018, which Farwell likely knew about because he was exploiting her during that time. So basically, I guess what we can extrapolate is in this missing section is Farwell saying, "Hey, look, I haven't had intercourse with her since October of 2020, and plus she has a history of of self-deletion ideation. She's been in a mental hospital for this, and they're probably going, all right, sounds good to me." I'm not aware of any credible evidence of any ideations in the approximately 3 years leading up to her death. In fact, all of the witnesses who agents interviewed about their interactions with Birchmore in the weeks leading up to her death suggested that during that period she was excited, optimistic, and involved in future planning. We're about to get into the heavy deep waters here, so we've still got a little bit to go, but we're almost there, people. So just letting you know in advance. Person 7 had a therapy session with Birchmore on January 31, 2021. This is like the day before she died. During that meeting, Person 7 screened Birchmore for any signs of depression or ideation. He or she found none. Person 7 had regular sessions with Birchmore and noted no signs of depression or ideation in the months leading up to Birchmore's death, and had her next appointment scheduled for February 4th. Additionally, Farwell told detectives that he had been trying to distance himself from Birchmore. This is inconsistent with evidence that in Birchmore's final days, Farwell asked for a key to her apartment. Yeah, I'm trying to distance myself from her. But for the first time ever, I asked for keys to her apartment. Yeah. Whew. I have also reviewed a text message from January 28th, 2021, just days before Birchmore's death, in which Farwell told her that when he came over that night, he would give her hugs. In that same conversation, he told her that he may not be able to visit her because he was at a death, but it was all good because, quote, we do them all the time. In addition, I have reviewed a text message exchange between Birchmore and Farwell from January 29, 2021, in which Birchmore expressed joy at Farwell agreeing to engage in sexual activity with her again. Okay, let's see here. Right. From the next page is where it gets bad, as you may have just seen from that headline. Farwell's post-interview conduct. What did he do after the interview? Following Birchmore's death, the Staunton Police Department placed Farwell on administrative leave. Around that time, Farwell met a coworker, person 4, at a local bar. During that meeting, Farwell told person 4 that he had had a sexual relationship with Birchmore. However, according to person 4, at no point during that conversation did Farwell express any sadness, grief, or remorse about Birchmore's death. Farwell told person 4 that he was angry with Massachusetts State Police for looking into him. At some point during the summer of 2021, person 4 attended a social gathering with Farwell, during which Farwell participated in a joke about Birchmore being hung on the door. Are we seeing a pattern with these police officers? All of the horrible, shitty, awful things that was said about Karen Reed, and here they are at a social function, joking about Birchmore being hung on a door. See, that wasn't a one-off. That wasn't a bad Proctor. It's systemic. It runs throughout the entire Massachusetts law enforcement community. Now, all right, it's take a break time here. We've got a few more pages, and these few pages are not good. Gonna add a little bit of rum here to the Coke. Do whatever you guys got to do to get in a good space. All of the trigger warnings are now coming to fruition. This is what I was talking about earlier. About this, if any of this is triggering, upsetting, or overly disturbing to you, now would be even the dogs have left at some point. I don't know when the dogs left, but if they come back, we'll put them there. Yeah, this is the time. If what has been said up to this point has been particularly traumatic, traumatizing, or triggering, it is exponentially worse from here on out. If you want to walk away right now, I completely and totally understand and would not feel bad at all. Do what you guys need to do for your own health. I've read this a few times to sort of, I guess, build up a tolerance, sort of build up an immunity to it. But if y'all need to leave, if you want to leave, now's the time to do it. We got 660 people here. Thank you so much, guys. We're only 4 away from, I hate to say like this stream, but we're 4 away from 600 likes. If any of you feel so inclined, or if any of you would like to subscribe to the channel, just take a deep breath now and do that. Get down and hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, just double check to make sure you're still subscribed. Get all the YouTubey stuff done out of the system, crack your knuckles, give a little bit of a stretch. Yeah, I know all of this is upsetting. But as I said, it gets worse. Like way worse. Right up here through the rest of the document. What are we on? We're on page 37. So basically the next 8 pages are a ride into the depths of monstrous depravity and hell. And I'm not being hyperbolic, and I'm not exaggerating. If anything, I'm downplaying it. Tammy Fayette, thank you so much. I'm staying, Jeff. Can't get rid of me. I'm not trying to get rid of anyone, but I don't want anyone to be here if they're being triggered by any of this. Because like I said, I can't exaggerate what we're going to get into here. Let me take one good drag on the cigar, lube up the vocal cords, and this is your last chance here. Val G, much worse. I know it sounds like I'm hyping this or I'm being hyperbolic or exaggerating, but trust me, I'm not. What kind of trigger? Honest to God, everything. Abuse, grape, incest, weird shit. I mean, just anything abusive or deviant that triggers you is likely going to be present here. Yeah, I'm not being facetious when I say all the triggers. All right. And again, remember, this is not everything they have. This is not everything they have. As she said at the beginning of this affidavit, this is just enough. This is just enough to prove that he's a danger to society and should not be let out pending trial. This isn't everything they have. This is only enough that this is the bare minimum they think they need to put in to get this motion granted. All right. There's been enough warnings. So the 690 of you that are here, buckle up. Oh, thanks for getting us over the 600 likes. Thank you very much, peeps. This is messed up. Additional evidence relevant to detention. Farwell had a history of choking Birchmore. Yes, necrophilia. Through this investigation, agents have identified evidence that Farwell expressed an interest in violent sex and had a history of choking Birchmore. On more than one occasion, Farwell asked Birchmore to perform his grape fantasies during sex, whereby Birchmore would pretend to be the victims of Farwell's simulated essays. Moreover, I have reviewed text messages that indicate that over the course of their relationship, Farwell initiated the concept of choking Birchmore on numerous occasions. This police officer is in federal penitentiary right now. He's in federal custody. And this affidavit is designed to keep him there until his trial. They want him with no bond. In 2020, the year preceding her death, text messages reveal that Farwell told Birchmore on at least 20 separate occasions that he would grab her throat, pin her down by her throat, squeeze her throat, and choke her during sexual activity. These messages were sent on the following dates. There's a long list of dates. Based on my I have my mercifully my document closed. All right. Maybe that's an intervention there. Something glitched. Let me open this again. Yeah, it just we just had a PDF. Okay, I know what the problem was. We just had a PDF closure. Let's open this thing back up again. Well, that's the universe wanting us to take just a little bit longer of a break, I guess. All right. Now let me scroll back down to where we were. Interview. Okay, there's the interview. Scrolling down more. Post-interview conduct. All right, there we go. There's the dates. All right, we are back. Present. Share screen, window, and share. We might be able to get one more. There we go. We did. We got one more embiggenment out of it. Just shift this over a little bit. There we go. All right, back to this. So here's all the date. Here's a few of the dates where he said he wanted to choke her, etc. Based on my review of Birchmore's journal entries, as early as 2013, when Birchmore was just 16 years old, Farwell introduced the idea of choking during their sexual encounters and discussions. Yeah, the dogs have left the building. Sorry, Mary Jane. They've gone somewhere else. One such example of Farwell promising to choke Birchmore occurred on October 14th, 2020, when Farwell told Birchmore that he was going to cover her mouth during sex and maybe I'll choke you a little. In that same conversation, Farwell told Birchmore, I'll grab your throat and say you won't say a word to anyone. On October 15th, 2020, Farwell told Birchmore that during their next sexual encounter, he was going to grab her throat and say, shut the fuck up now or I won't pull out. On November 13th, 2020, Farwell and Birchmore began discussing choking. In that conversation, Farwell told Birchmore, maybe I'll hold you down by your throat while I pound you. He asked her how tight he should squeeze and then stated that he wanted her to feel like, oh my God, this is really happening and I can't stop it. Farwell used violent sex as a form of punishment. Birchmore's journal entries from 2013 through, and again, she was 16 years old in 2013. 15 and 16 years old, through 2020, detail a continuous and sometimes violent sexual relationship with Farwell. Birchmore often journaled about Farwell using sex acts to punish her. According to her journal entries, Farwell would engage in forceful oral, vaginal, and anal sex acts to punish her for her mistakes, such as getting bad grades, having intercourse with other people, and failing to share her cell phone location with him. Now, mind you, there are other people that are apparently under investigation for also abusing her. I've reviewed numerous text messages that Farwell sent Birchmore, including some from March 2019. Which are consistent with Farwell's practice of using certain sex acts to punish her for lying or becoming intimate with someone else. For example, in a text conversation on March 7th, 2019, Farwell said, you would have to take a serious pounding to make me happy. Is it for everything? No. You owe me 3. I'll give you a break and spread them out. Please, not all on the same day. No, I'll give you like a week so you can feel it. And then as soon as it goes away, you'll get it again. So you feel it for like a whole month. Not going to be a fun month. Not for you. Farwell's fixation with grape fantasies. Text messages between Farwell and Birchmore reveal Farwell's interest in SA. For example, in one text conversation on November 8th, 2020, Farwell told Birchmore that he enjoyed having sex with her. When Birchmore asked what would be perfect for him, Farwell replied, "You say no and make me take it full R word." That would be the grape word. That would be perfect for him, to go full grape. When Birchmore indicated that she was amenable to that, Farwell responded, "Doesn't matter. I'll do whatever I want anyway." During another text message conversation between Farwell and Birchmore, Farwell instructed Birchmore to call him daddy during sexual encounters. In that conversation on October 18th, 2020, Farwell told Birchmore that daddy was going to engage in anal sex with her. He indicated that when he was done, he was going to grab her hair, pull her head back, and tell her to keep her fucking mouth shut. Do you understand me? Farwell has obsessive and controlling tendencies. Text messages between Farwell and Birchmore include Farwell's repeated demands that Birchmore set her phone's location setting to allow him to always view her location. In these text conversations, Farwell indicated Birchmore needed to share this information in order to gain back his trust for her alleged lies and infidelity. On March 11th, 2019, Farwell asked Birchmore why her location was off and why he can no longer see it. On 22nd of March, 2019, Farwell asked Birchmore to reveal her location. When she responded she was at 7-Eleven, Farwell told her that he knew she was in Abington and asked multiple times why she would go there when Stoughton has 100 convenience stores. On April 22nd, 2019, Farwell sent Birchmore a text message saying, "I know you're hiding shit. Your location is off again." On June 22nd, 2019, Farwell sent Birchmore a text message asking why she turned off her location data the other day. On July 5th, 2019, Farwell again reached out to Birchmore saying, "I see your location is off again." In July of 2020, Farwell apparently transitioned from wanting to track Birchmore's location to prioritizing secrecy. "You can turn your location back off if you want. It wasn't off. That's why I wasn't sure why it was showing up. Then I just unshared and reshared it with you. You can have it. It's been a thing for years, lol." Lol, okay, Farwell responds. Birchmore, I don't care if you know where I am. I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be. My leg's shaking a shit ton right now. I'm feeling that tomorrow. Lol, I know that I just don't really like any of that stuff. Big Brother is always watching. I don't understand what you mean. I'm just saying iPhone keeps track of way too much stuff. I don't mean anything by it. This shit here, Farwell's iCloud account contains disturbing images regarding violence and necrophilia. Yeah. Whew, we've got 3 more pages here, peeps. This is the grand finale here. During this investigation, pursuant to a federal search warrant, agents obtained and reviewed data from Farwell's iCloud account. Located in Farwell's iCloud were several memes that indicated his interest in sexual intercourse with dead bodies. A meme that states, "What does a pulse and an orgasm have in common? I don't care if she has either." Another meme states, "If you fuck a corpse on a waterbed, it feels like they're participating." A meme glorifying a person who kills and sexually abuses someone who no one will miss. Farwell's iCloud data also contains images that reveal his interest in domestic and sexual violence. A meme containing a photo of a woman with tape over her mouth that states duct tape turning no, no, no into since 1942. Farwell's iCloud data also includes images that could reveal his interest in strangulation. For example, one such image states, "When she says, 'Choke me, daddy,' and you get carried away, and now she's dead." There's also a screenshot of an image of a woman saying that she could not sleep, followed by a man choking her and saying, "Good night, bitch." Farwell's efforts to conceal his crimes. On February 9th, 2021, after giving his personal cell phone to state police detectives, Farwell used his Stoughton police-issued cell phone to make and delete 2 Google searches. First, Farwell searched for and deleted, "Can delete messages be recovered by Cellbrite?" Well, it depends if you've got Garano running the fucking Cellbrite or not, right? He then searched for and deleted, "Can you revoke consent in Massachusetts?" Yeah, oops. I've identified text messages between Farwell and Birchmore in which Farwell directed Birchmore to destroy evidence of their sexual relationship. March 11, 2019, Farwell sent Birchmore a text reminding her to make sure you clear all this out. March 19th, 2019, sent her a text message about his desire to use sexual violence to pretend to grape her. At the end of the conversation, Farwell sent her a text indicating that he was going to bed and instructed her to clear out this text. On June 5, 2019, Farwell directed Birchmore to make sure all of their text messages and Facebook messages had been deleted. There are also text messages between Farwell and Birchmore in which Farwell directed Birchmore to destroy evidence regarding the beginning of their relationship. This would be evidence of Farwell's efforts to coerce and entice Birchmore to engage in sexual intercourse when she was 15 years old. Wish we had just done it for real the first time. I know you do, baby. It would have been perfect. Yes. Was it still perfect the first time? He says, yes, of course it was, baby. I never thought you'd let me. I never thought you would. I wanted it so bad. So did I. I knew the day we made eye contact, I wanted you to fuck me. You should have told me. We could have fucked so much sooner. Yeah, so much sooner than 15. Clear out that part, baby. I did. Good girl. The remainder of this page is blank. Conclusion. The information set forth above supports the government's motion to detain Matthew Farwell pending trial in this case. Thank fuck that's the end. That's it. And again, that's just all they need to try to win their motion to see that he doesn't get bail and that he is continued to be detained until his trial, whenever the hell that may be. Now, later, I mean, it's going to be a while before I want to revisit this again. Maybe a week or so from now, maybe a week after next, we will look at the indictment. We'll look at the charges against him. And like I said, what we read here was the affidavit in support of the motion to detain him. We'll look at the motion to detain him next time. Next time I want to get anywhere near this, we'll do the motion to detain and the charges against him. And as I said at the beginning of this, I purposely have avoided talking about this case because it was levels of horror that I didn't want to get involved in if it wasn't going to go anywhere. If nobody was going to be charged with this shit, I didn't want to even get involved in it. But then the indictments came, and he was charged with he was charged federally with murdering a witness or victim. And so now that the federal charges have been made, now it's a thing. And I think it needed to be addressed because this is some sick shit, and it's not isolated. When was it, a little over a year ago, maybe closer to 2 years ago, we did the case of the Texas Border Patrol guy who his thing was to go around and murder prostitutes, pick up prostitutes and murder them. These sick fucks are out there, and they need to be held accountable. And in addition to that, we have a police department, an entire state police agency in the Canton area, the Stoughton area, and then the Massachusetts State Police that don't investigate. And we have Garano there who you can't undelete these things. Oh, there's no record of any text messages between Birchmore and Farwell. We can't find any. Well, the FBI fucking found 32,000 of them. So yeah, there is something deeper and darker than we could have imagined going on in Massachusetts. It's like this is what I was saying earlier. The words don't exist to explain just the levels of evil. And if there's again, as I said, I am not opposed to the death penalty, unlike some other people. I fully support the death penalty. I think it needs to be used a lot more than it is. My only problem with it is employed and enforced inconsistently and improperly. Other than that, if we could do it properly and with consistency, I would like to see more of it. This is a prime case for someone who, as I said at the beginning, has lost the privilege of breathing my oxygen. What did I say Stoughton? I know. Have I been saying Stoughton the whole? I know it's Stoughton. Have I been saying Stoughton the whole time? I know it's Stoughton. I have been saying Stoughton the whole time, haven't I? Dang it. See, this is something that my brain does. The more I tell myself not to say or do something, the more I say and do it. I've been saying Stoughton the whole time. Shit. I hate when I do that. It's Stoughton. I know it's Stoughton. Dang it. I was telling myself not to say Stoughton, and that's all I did. That's how my stupid brain works. It's like, I mean, I don't know firsthand because I've never had Tourette's, but I had a friend in law school. But when I was in law school, I had a friend. He was a church friend that had Tourette's, and he would say, like, the things that trigger tics is when you try so hard not to do something. That's when it does it, and that's kind of what my brain does too. Sorry about that for mispronouncing Stoughton. Now I feel like an idiot, but that's it. There's no way to ease out of this conversation. I'm gonna kip off to bed here. I think it's 1:18 a.m. here in Korea, and in 8.5 hours from now, we will be starting my F It Friday stream, where we're gonna do a big palate cleanser here. We're gonna have a good panel of guests on. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna talk. We're gonna spin the F It Friday fickle Ferris wheel of fate and fortune, where we have punishments and rewards and drinks and all sorts of fun, festive things to go through and go over. So don't miss that 8.5 hours from now. Let's see. Let's give you a rundown of who the guests so far are. The ones who have said that they will be there or will give it a good college try. Law of Self-Defense, Andrew Branca, Andrea Burkhart, Potentially Criminal Sean, Little Miss Jacob, Aussie Overlord. Little Miss Jacob is Ari Jacob, by the way. Flux, MG Law, Moxie Dame Jess, Nick Starro, Danny on Direct, the T-Man, the Dragon's Treasure, Paralegal Liz, Kaiser Pineapple, Cat Not Williams, Mean Copium, and Supermod Danielle. Those are the people that are going to be there. I sent Megan Fox. Megan, if you're still watching, Megan never responded to my request if she was going to join us, so I don't know if she's going to join us for Effort Friday or not. And other people will hopefully be coming on as things go on. But it'll go from about 8 p.m. Eastern until whenever I decide to shut it down. Let's see. Let's see where we can send you. See if we can send you somewhere happier than here. If not, we'll just release you out into the wild. Hey, speak of the Dervil, it's Supermod Danielle. What's up, Danielle? You did? Where did you, Megan? I didn't receive your response. What was your response? I didn't receive it from you. Ah, you did. You did. It was after I started the show today. All right. Yes, Megan Fox will be there. Yeah. Now I see she's going to stream and then she will join. All right. Now I got it. Megan Fox will be there. Great. Okay. So that's it. All right, people. This is your last chance to hit that like and subscribe button. Don't like the subject, like me. Like what you saw here, like the show. We got the Effort Friday coming up, and then beginning on Monday of next week, Megan Fox and I will be diving back into the new Judge Grudge from the What the Hales case, his new Neighbor Wars case involving the same attorney, Jeremy Hale's attorney, Randy Shockett, also in a protective custody, a protective order case where Judge Grudge Thomas is going off the rails again, and there's more motions to have him removed from this case. We are going to be starting part 4 of that series. It'll probably go all the way through next week. So stand by for that. That'll be beginning next week. All right, I'm just kind of pulling this up here to see who is streaming now and where we can be sent. Hitting the customization, redirect. Who is locked and loaded and ready to go? We've got a recovery addict is doing Sarah something. Sarah Boone has a new lawyer. What? Let's go see what's happening over on the recovery addict. It says Sarah Boone has a new lawyer. All right, I'm going to go over and see what that's all about. Holy cow, that's interesting. All righty, let's go see what's happening over on Discovery Channel on Recovery Addict. And I will see you all here in 8.5 hours for Effort Friday. You bring the piles of cash to throw at me. I will bring the Effort Friday fickle Ferris wheel of fate and fortune and all of the things that go along with that. And we'll have a great time with guests. All right, go tell the Recovery Addict hi from me, and we'll see you right on over there. Take care, people, and thank you so much for joining me for this horrific thing that we just sat through for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Love you guys. Good night. Wait a minute. Time out. Shame on me. There's stuff I didn't read. I apologize. I was too busy ignoring the. All right, don't go anywhere. We've got super chats and stuff. I apologize. I forgot all about it because I was just trying to power through that thing, and I was so goddamn glad we got through it that I forgot things. Sorry about that here. Yes, Megan, I got your text. I will very, very soon. Right, here we go. Chloe Albert's revenge, but why isn't he under the building and having sunlight and oxygen piped in? Well, why would we want to waste oxygen by piping it in? That's my question. That's my question in answer to your question. Why would we want to waste good oxygen like that? And I heard my phone alert go off. So what does that mean? Does that mean someone sent stuff via one of the other alternate methods? Let's see here. I received $5. Who from? Let's see my activity. Stand by. $5 is waiting for you. Yes, I know. So don't bother me. I'm trying to figure out who sent it. Activity says yep, I guess that would be us. This is from initials PM. Happy to have you back. Just got here and you're getting mad already. Have an awesome weekend. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, Patricia M. I don't want to give people's names there. Sorry about that. I almost did that. It looks like that was what came in a few minutes ago. So thank you very, very, very much for that. I appreciate it. And now I will send you on over to Recovery Addict. Thank you guys. Again, good night. Take care. Sorry for the false alarm. Bye.